All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are here today. We are the Face Downs. My name is Ruben.
And I'm Lucas.
And we are here today joining digitally and commentating the Dice Jar Games OTS Championships.
That's right, live from lockdown in muggy Auckland.
Yeah,
we are
subtropical weather. We are
living vicariously through people who can do what we
through
want
literally
to do.
anyone outside of Auckland.
I will do anything to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I will kill somebody.
So I guess this is quite monumental, actually. This is the return of organized play in store since we've actually had our return to our lockdown scenario.
2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yes, our lockdown 2. So amazingly, Dunedin is in a state within the New Zealand COVID alert response that they are able to facilitate not only in-store players, but also customers. So if you are in the Dunedin area, please feel free to vend and shop at Dice Jar Games. So we are here at the OTS Championships. Now, this is amazing. So what are we expecting to see? We're post-Bode, post-LED 8. What are we thinking?
I mean, I'm expecting to see some, I don't know, can we swear on this? Some malarkey, some shenanigans.
I would expect to see some tomfoolery, some wiggetry, and some giggetry.
Exactly.
And that is what I'm here to see.
That's generally been Dunedin. Looking at the past event, Sky Striker vs. Virtual World, may give you the impression that people here play just kind of shapeless meta decks, but it's not the case. You often see a lot of control, a lot of Geist, a lot of Paleo.
We see a lot of unique strategies, I think, is what I like to say. We saw Abyss Actors. You know, we see unique,
Abyss Actors
diverse.
won the last thing we commentated.
Yeah,
so
with Melfi Tri-Brigade coming second.
Mad respect.
Amazing.
But we're entering a format where there's a lot of really good decks that are very cheap. Because of the Megatins, because of the existence of Fluwanderies and Lyrilisk to some extent, there's a lot of decks you can pick up that are really, really good for like sub $200.
Very cost effective. And I think that's why we're seeing, I mean, reporting from the Palmerston North OTS Championships, we can see 4 Fluwanderies represented, which is significant considering that due to their previous events at Dunedin Meta, yes, absolutely. Due to Palmerston North's previous events, it was very diverse and more so like one of friends or like one of like casual decks making themselves known. So I think we're going to see some really unique strategies going forward.
Yeah, and Fluwander's like a back row deck. Got some players coming up here now, but yeah, generally like a lot of back row in the South Island, a lot of back row outside of kind of the Auckland judiciary area. So yeah, could really be expecting a big shakeup down here.
Yeah, and I expect to see some fun. Like, I feel like fun is absolutely what the Dunedin meta is contrived of. I feel like these players are here to have a good time.
Imagine having fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't. Have you ever had fun playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
Maybe like in a bygone era.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's not the case anymore. All right, so we are seeing Salaman. Fine. Oh no, sorry, Salaman Great.
Salamander. This is an old archetype actually. No, Salaman Great. We're just getting Greg. Greg, by the way, working triple shift today. Not only running this event, but also running the stream and doing vending at the same time. So can we give Greg a shout out?
Yeah, hair, body, face, the Greg. Yeah,
I'm gonna shout out Greg.
Yeah, we do respect Greg, the hustle. All right, so we're going to see Salamangreat piloted by Jake O'Malley. Now, Salamangreat, very good deck, very consistent.
It's a Cyburst deck. Oh, we're versing Magic-y. Let's go.
Yes, Mike.
Mike's back.
Magic Mike.
Big Brick City, baby. Hang on, we'll talk about the decks one at a time. So Salamangreat is a Cyburst deck based around the Fire attribute. It's got a very linear combo to set 1 to 2 trap cards that are extremely strong and recurable. And generally wins the game by creating an access code talker that can attack twice, provided that Jake O'Malley has managed to open some Eldorado. Or maybe he has a secret. And then Mike Arnigo on Magic-y.
An incredible ritual strategy based on normal monsters.
Yeah, I was going to call it the 4th best Auroradon deck of the format, but looks like he has opened, so we've begun the game. He has opened the field spell, which means he has drawn well compared to the last time he was on stream.
Yeah.
This field spell is high impact.
Absolutely.
It lets you add a Magic-y monster when you activate it, and then lets you cycle a card in your hand to the bottom of your deck to add Maftea, which is
the in-archetype ritual or fusion spell that if you control a normal monster, can use the material from deck instead.
So he's opened, he's added the Battle Buster. the ritual monster, which means he's probably opened Clavkiss, the in-archetype normal monster, or any normal monster. You can run the Sue-ship cards. All of the Magic-y cards require different attributes to be as effective. So you generally run like a random assortment of normal monsters. And here we see him activating the new effect monster, whose name
is Magic-y Mafteal.
Is it Mafteal? Yeah, because he's Maftea, the guy. So he can reveal himself to give you an extra normal, kind of a brilliant fusion effect.
Yeah, so we're now seeing the fusion slice ritual. I think it's a safe assumption that we're going to see the summon of Beta Buster.
Yeah,
because likely. The summon also searches you, I believe it's another Magic-y card.
Any Magic-y card. So Magic-y got a lot in the new set.
Absolutely. A new Xyz monster that has a really incredible battle effect.
So yeah, here we're seeing Robotic Knight.
It makes sense. This is a really powerful 1900... Was it 1900? Or
describing Robotic Knight as really powerful. It's like a 1600 dude.
But it's fire and it's machine.
I think he's just playing it. Oh, it is a machine. That's kind of neat for Auroradon setups. Auroradon being a Link 3 that summons 3 tokens on summon and locks you out of Link summoning, generally used in degenerate synchro decks. And made use of in Magic-y due to the fact they don't need to commit their normal summon to get to a Halka Fibrax, which is exactly what's happening here.
So Beta Buster is the tuner here. I believe we're going to see the desk bot coming out from the deck. Was that a safe assumption?
Yeah, I'd imagine this is just Auroradon combo, and there it is.
So this will then come into the Auroradon, which will summon 3 monsters simultaneously, which triggers the Deskbot 01 in grave, because as 2 or more machines are summoned at the same time, it is able to summon itself from the grave.
So as you can see with Magic-y, it's kind of just an engine to get to this card, but where it thrives is the Magic-y cards themselves have fairly decent effects. They usually go +1, and he hasn't committed his regular normal summon, so he still has access to...
As additional, sorry.
He used his additional normal summon to summon Clavkiss earlier.
No, that was the normal.
He revealed Maftail, so I guess he just has an additional normal this turn. Regardless, he has another normal summon. So after he goes through this line, which generally concludes in Borrowload Savage Dragon plus Herald of the Arclight and a Baron if he's made of solid gold. And from here, you can kind of either stick the Magic-y Synchro Monster, the new one that came out, which is a fairly strong, I guess like Draco Berserker of the Tenyi style effect. Oh, and he's going in. Double Herald of the Arclight into what I imagine will be an old entity Hastor, is it?
No.
The one that lets you Xyz and then draw a card? This is interesting. I've never seen a Magic-y combo.
This is very unique. No,
okay,
this is Dugaris.
Similar kind of card. So he's going to attach both these Heralds, which will both trigger to search a ritual monster or ritual spell. And then presumably he's going to draw 2 and discard 1.
He potentially could. I think he might be looking in the graveyard to use the Reborn effect of Dugaris.
Could also be the Reborn. He didn't. So he's still got the Cult Wing and a token on the field.
So currently that Cult Wing is a 7 because it's gaining the levels of all machine tokens or machines.
Machine tokens.
Yeah.
I believe Mecha Phantom Beast monsters. All right, getting back the Deskbot. Now we have access to an 8.
With the double Herald search.
We could see another 4, another Herald hit the table. I have no idea where he's going with this.
So we're going to go ARA, Advanced Ritual Art, and the...
Bato, no, the level 8 Ritual. That kind of is a negate...
Goulangatl? Goulan something?
The key text on the level 8 Ritual is that you can negate a monster effect with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard.
As long as 2 or more attributes were used for its summon.
Yeah. Fairly good. Takes a little bit of setup, but, you know, as long as you don't draw it in your opening hand, it's nice.
So we're looking at potentially a Omni Negate, I could say, as a safe assumption. Oh no, we are going into another
Herald. I think this
Do we see a pitch?
I think we're just going to see another rank 4. This is like, okay, no.
Okay.
Quandrax is
Quandrax.
Immediately using that and the Cult Wing. Interesting you didn't just go for the Cult Wing with...
Safely assuming this is a Borrowload Savage? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting to not go for the Cult Wing with a the Deskbot to make the 8 and leaving the token on field. I presume he just needs the board space.
I mean, these Auroradon combos are quite space intensive.
Auroradon has been, you know, while he combos here, we can sort of talk about the format.
So we've got the additional normal of the Mafteal.
Yeah.
The Mafteal on summon will reborn.
I was just going to say, like, Auroradon has been the single greatest thing you can summon, given your opponent has no interaction.
And it's seeming quite like that at this moment.
For like 2 years. Probably going to go into the level 8 Magic-y Synchro here.
So the Transfer Mine.
And this card reads, if your opponent special summons a monsters and any of those monsters share an attribute with a monster in your graveyard, you can destroy them. So it's pretty good. It's hard to play around with a lot of decks that require a special summon to get started.
Yeah.
And I think he's got every attribute in grave at this point.
Yeah. So I think we've got the wind engrave off Coltwing.
Yeah.
We've got the Earth off Deskbot, I believe.
And it adds, it can set a Magic-y spell trap as well. So it just sets the counter trap by itself. This card is nuts. This card is absolutely
a common,
insane.
which is incredible.
I think it's a super.
No, this is a common.
No, the synchro.
Oh, the synchro is a super. The counter trap is a common.
The counter trap wasn't good until now, but now that this guy can just kind of set it without losing, you'd have to use your Beto Buster search on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now he's going advanced ritual art. We're going to get the 8
be sending
ritual.
an 8. Oh no, we're just going to send.
No, we're going to send 2 here. Yeah. Put an Earth engrave just so we have more interruption in case they're playing, I don't know, Zodiacs.
I mean, you have the Deskbot 01 engrave. It's not too of much of a concern.
It's true. We're playing around Zodiacs who have double DD Crow. I don't know. I don't know what the play is anymore. This is Auroradon, right? Like if you resolve Auroradon, you just get to win the game. It's very simple. Unless your opponent is main boarding like Dark Ruler no more, or is just slow rolled Imperm Nibiru until now. I mean, they definitely don't have any hand traps. They would have fired them off on like the Halka Fibrax.
Absolutely, which are the clutch interaction points, I feel.
So the interesting thing here will be whether or not Jake O'Malley can break this board in Salamangreat, which is unlikely.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of main deck go second.
Sure, but the interesting thing will be how he boards against it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're seeing a lot of main decked Dark Ruler No Mores.
Forbidden Chalices, Forbidden Droplets, evenly matched.
Jake is drawing. Evenly is probably the most likely Salamangreat inclusion, but it wouldn't easily break this board.
No.
I mean, you could just keep the Borrowlord Savage.
Also, you've got a counter trap.
Yeah, there's like multiple non-monster based negates here. Even the counter trap alone with these bodies on field could be very hard to overcome. And of course, we're seeing a scoop.
We are going to see a concession.
So yeah, this is
so powerful, incredibly strong turn 1 from Magic Key.
But this is solitaire
without interruption,
deck, right? Like like once the board is in, and Mike is going to have to play through interruption, is where Auroradon decks that win the die roll have to start putting in work, because as you can see there were several moments that Jake could have just thrown an Infinite Impermanence on an Auroradon or an Ash on Hulk and potentially interrupted the combo. Although Magic Key, interestingly, can play through Hulk interruption, they just don't get the desk bot. But can still sometimes make a board with just the Magic Key engine. He could have still ended on like Synchro Counter Trap.
Yeah, that's what we saw. Like that's the power of the new greater Magic Key Spirit, Math Teal, giving you the Reborn from Grave into the level 8 Transfer Mine, giving you the Counter Trap accessibility. Even if you lose your, Halka Fibrax engine, your Transfer Mine just does put in a lot of work still.
Yeah, because you don't use your normal and Math Tail on summon Reborns a normal monster. It is in itself a level 8 synchro, which, it's just really strong. Basically 2 interruptions on its own from a normal summon. It's exactly what the deck needed. Because before this, your normal summon was kind of Diviner or Bust.
I mean, which is not a normal monster, so it just contradicts the entire practice of the...
You definitely still can play Diviner, but mainly because you get an additional normal. The counter trap turning the opponent's monster to not fire kind of an FTK versus Salad. Does it change attributes?
Yes.
Actually, Dino would know. Sup, Dino? Dino's been labbing this deck too. I played it against him in testing. He's on a slightly different build, but the theory's the same. To just Auroradon out, and then if that fails, just make the synchro. It's pretty sick.
Powerful plays. What are we expecting to see in the board? So what do you think going first for Jake after seeing this kind of a situation?
I find it really unlikely that Jake is not on something like Goes and Match, which is a very strong card against Magic-Key. They are specifically a different attribute deck.
Not even Magic-Key, just it hits a lot of the current meta threats. So that's a pretty safe assumption.
It's been a staple of Salamangreat, basically.
Since inception.
Since they could. And then I guess from Jake, you'd probably be weighing up how much you want to keep in 1-for-1 hand traps. Given that Magic Key is kind of like a ritual-based deck that doesn't commit its normal, they may be a little hard to interact with, given you don't open nuts. But I don't know. I think Jake's probably on a good main board, like Rage Roar, Goes and Match, potentially, are just all really good tools against a deck like Magic Key that has its tunnel points. Whether or not Jake knows those tunnel points is
another situation entirely. I would also expect potentially the Imperial Order just coming in. I feel like it's so powerful, especially against ritual decks, of course.
Imperial Order, the boogeyman of the format, negating all spell cards on the field. after you've set up just kind of wins you the game like 50% of the time. It's not
and
fair.
then for Mike, what do we think we're going to see going second? I think personally, potentially some more back row interruption. I think we know that Salamangreat are a back row deck or like a mid-range, perfect mid-range
He
deck.
doesn't necessarily know what Jake is on. Remember, Jake showed 0 cards that game, intentionally maybe to prevent Mike from putting in too much back row. Dino, I'm here watching because I just got Lava Golem plus Twin Twisted and my match was over in 10 minutes. Sorry to hear it, buddy. I mean, just get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! What can I say? Jesus Christ. Who's on Lava Golem?
Drytron?
No, surely not.
It can't be normal summoned.
Is that true?
Yes,
it's
Lava
a
Golem cannot be... No, Kaijus can be normal summoned.
Right, yeah, but I mean, it's not like a sphere mode, like where you have to normal it to your opponent's field.
Yeah. All right, so the Foxy reveal, we see droplets. Okay, Jag, incredible get here.
These are bread and butter Salamangreat combos. I mean, any Salamangreat monster normal summon can get you to Balinks, and then all you need is one extender to make Sunlight Wolf and sort of start getting back resources and combo off. I don't know. Is there anything you could potentially see as a spice in this deck, or do you think it's just going to be Salamangreat combo past?
I mean, really fascinating keeping the droplets in. That's kind of my most interesting concern.
All right.
Was Drytron. Yeah, thought so.
Ashing the Balinks to keep them off the field spell is
very relevant, absolutely.
Without the field spell, they have to commit a lot more resources to
the link climb.
And it turns off Foxy here, because Foxy needs a spell face up to at least attempt to summon from graveyard.
Do we see the... cross out designator.
I realize in saying that Foxy can't use both its effects in one turn, but it doesn't matter, baby. We drew... Damn, Jake really revealing his droplet and cross out to show that he does in fact have a wallet.
Yeah. Incredible. This is the first time we've seen the this incredible card, at least in a competitive setting.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense in exactly Salamangreat. I mean, they lose to Nibiru harder than most decks, and they have a lot of room for just a bunch of hand traps they can play. You know, Salamangreat really doesn't need its whole hand to combo. They generally use like 2 cards. So going with the -1 with cross out doesn't really matter.
Fascinating crossing out for the Sanctuary and then linking into Balinks and setting a back row.
You know, maybe he just wanted to use it.
Yeah.
He paid the money.
You pay the coin thada. You use the carda.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay, well, incredible.
You can use Balinks to protect you, but you know, that baits that out.
And the back row. Oh, is that just a concede? Yeah, that's a concession.
Wait, he's just conceding to
Yeah,
Harpies?
I think he knew that his hand was unfortunately not the strongest.
Oh, because he can't protect the face down, so it's just... Really not going to wait for Mike to, like, show a card. I mean, he could have bricked.
I don't think so.
Wait, did Mike just scoop? Oh my god, his hand was, like, triple Nibiru. Oh my god. Wait, it was Nibiru, Pank, Harpies. Is that a third Nibiru? Incredible.
We're going to game 3?
Yeah, that was a Mike concede.
Oh my god.
He just showed his hand. It was like 3 Nibirus.
Well, summon 3.
Right. Epic gamer moment draws 3 Nibiru against Salamangreat, and Salamangreat bricks so hard they don't even play into it. Wow. Just maybe he was hoping like he would negate the Harpies.
No, I believe that was a Jake concession.
Oh, okay. What the hell's going on?
What in the Willy Wonka? All right.
What? We're gonna
go in.
Mike. Mike, what just happened?
He bricked and I had full combo. So
no, not at this moment in time. We're just waiting for the microphone to be turned on at this moment in time.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Okay, sweet.
Reporting live.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
What happened?
So game 1 had full combo, didn't have any responses to it, so that was
sick, but
yeah.
Incredible.
What was game 2?
Game 2 was he didn't have full combo, and whereas I had just like the blowout cards. So yeah, would have I guess it would have just ended up being the same thing as before. I would have just full comboed.
He didn't even like show him any cards. He was just like, nah, you know what? I'm good. I don't need to see the rest.
Yeah, you know, he had a really unfortunate hand in game 2. Like when he crossed out my Ash on his Balinks, it was pretty clear at that point that his hand was definitely not ideal.
I mean, the cross out there doing its job, but unfortunately it doesn't unbreak the situation, even if it gets you to Sanctuary. Jake, can you hear us too?
Yep.
Unfortunate seeing Salamangreat just, not draw one of its 10 Salamangreat extenders there. I mean, it happens, but it's never fun to see because that deck generally is very consistent.
Yeah, like, because I'm playing Small World as well, so I had like 9 copies of Gazelle in there, and I just didn't see any of them either game. Like game 2, I opened
on the Small World. Oh my god.
Yeah, I opened double Foxy Jaguar, Foxing into a second Jaguar, and like just had cross out in the bluff game 2. So just nothing really I could do. It's just how it is.
I mean, at least that's what maths is for. Like, the next few games you play, you just won't draw that bad. Like, statistically, right? Like,
well, hopefully,
you just have
anyway.
to draw Gazelle at some point.
Yeah.
And then, so how have you two found the new support coming from Burst of Destiny? Obviously, we can start with Mike with all this incredible Magic-y support. How are you finding all this post-release?
The new Magic-y stuff is essentially just makes the deck a lot more resilient to hand traps. So what I was finding through testing was, if their hand traps nib, typically you auto lose to nib, whereas nowadays you can combo off hard enough that you get to a point where whether or not they nib you, you're going to end on at least a pop and a spell and trap negate, which isn't really that bad.
Yeah, we discussed that on stream, that like because you get the additional normal from Mathdale, that can reborn the normal. It's just essentially a 1-card level 8 synchro and a counter trap.
Exactly.
No matter what happens, it's so incredible. Unless they hold like the ghost bell for that exact moment. I mean, it would be the most steel-gripped player of all time to wait for that.
And I guess in a lot of cases as well, there was a couple of one of the things that I was testing last night was, what happens if I draw the Cult Wing, because the Cult Wing is the only really true brick in the deck. And what I was finding was that with the new support, I can at least set up some type of board instead of just sitting and passing, and it definitely does help.
Field spell.
The field spell is nuts.
Back. It's insane.
Exactly. So I was just, a lot of it was really just testing. Okay, say I opened a Cold Wing and I don't have a way to the field spell, then I'm kind of screwed at that point. But then at least I can end on at least a pop and spell and trap negate in most cases.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's definitely the best Auroradon deck of the format that I've seen. Other decks have tried to make use of it with Creation Resonator, and it definitely looks fine. But a lot of those decks also don't have the same level of like backup plan.
It's just an engine.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Infernoble doesn't really have a backup plan. Whatever kind of Psyreflector into Auroradon deck often really heavily leans into that engine, whereas this deck just kind of happens to just play a bunch of extenders that happen to be machines. Ain't so bad. And Jake, I was going to ask about Small World, how that's been for you in testing. We can get back to Magic-y in a bit. I'm just interested.
Small World's been incredible. Just because I'm taking in Ibli, just a 1 copy of Ibli as well, just so then you can get from like Salamangreat to Gazelle, and just every card in that deck can get to every other card in that deck. It's just it allows for so much just flexibility, and I've really been enjoying it so far in testing anyway.
Yeah, Ibli's low-key kind of cracked because you can reborn a Link 2 with it, and then just do you have any sideways pointing arrows?
Only transcode and update
jammer.
Yeah, only transcode and update jammer. But I think the better
which can come up if you get interrupted before access code, right? You can kind of like use Ibli to just bring it back, make an access code or a Link 4 and kill them.
I think even after that, the better play, I think turn 1 is you can make Balinks with it, give it to your opponent, and they can't hero you if you have full combo.
That's true.
And just, little things like that have been. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to test, but
amazing. Yeah. So we'll get back to it. Obviously, we can let you guys have a little break. But just final thoughts. What are you expecting to see for the rest of the day, Mike? Any assumptions or predictions for your other rounds?
For at least the way that I catered my my side deck to, I was expecting a lot of Phantom Knights and a lot of Guru kind of glue style decks where they just set 5 pass sort of thing. So that's kind of what my extra decks catered to. So I'm kind of hoping I don't come across anything that's too insane. Like, for example, if I come across dinos, I feel like I'll really struggle against it. But hopefully my deck has enough power to kind of push through decks like that.
I'm interested. Yeah.
And Jake,
competent.
What are you expecting to see today? Anything interesting in the side deck? Any techs? Any predictions?
I'm I kind of walked into this thinking, because just at locals here, there's a lot of like mid-range coming into combo. So I was expecting a lot of just stuff like that. So I've ticked in just a stop combo, quite a few hand traps, and just, yeah, I'm expecting a lot of evenly today as well. So I've got a linger revo in the extra as well. Just
nice.
Small things like that. Yeah, not much different to normal locals really, but definitely up the ante a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, amazing. Always good luck to the both of you. Obviously, the top 4 received their invite to a further event yet to be announced, so good luck to you both for that. And obviously, first place receives a mat when it comes into New Zealand. So you two have a great break, and good luck for the rest of the rounds, and hopefully we see you up in the top 4.
All right, awesome. Sweet. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
And now to fill time for 17 minutes and 47 seconds.
How amazing. I feel like that is such a unique kind of game one. I feel like I always say that about Dunedin, but we do see a lot of, diverse deck formats, deck ideas.
Well, Mike the Man Arnigo, as we heard last time we commentated, is a fan favorite for sticking with this deck.
I respect it because that Dawn of Majesty support, it was fine.
Yeah.
It really is this burst of destiny support that is pushing this deck forward.
Yeah, and just in general, I think has demonstrated, in at least in testing with Dino, that it does hold up. It has its weaknesses, but like any combo deck, has a board that we saw was just kind of impossible to break. And even us playing heroes against Magic-y, the destruction effect of the synchro comes up.
I would agree.
Summoning a Pharis and having it destroyed is massively interruptive, even if it doesn't negate the effect.
I feel like seeing the addition of, any deck getting additional normal summons is very fascinating. We're seeing an entire deck being pushed in the meta on that premise alone. Additional normal summons have proved to be so powerful throughout history, and an additional normal summon that can reborn your playstarter from grave is, I think, super strong.
It is. Different to the Fluanderee's attempt at kind of like turning normal summons into special summons, where they kind of like continuously chain into one another. You can hold this normal summon. It's something you just get for the rest of the turn, and I think that is what makes it stronger. Is it's just an extra resource that other decks don't have. Brandon, can you ask Mike if he's going to stilettos later?
He seems like more of a sneakers guy, to be honest. But I hope it'll be fun. Summer league, get the legs out for summer.
If he wins, maybe.
Yeah. And then obviously Jake, seeing the introduction of Small World.
We didn't get to see much from Jake, unfortunately. But discussing the utility of Small World and the application in Salamangreat. This is personally something that I wasn't a big fan of, because I didn't really appreciate the quote unquote -1 in resources to simply find one of your pieces. But I guess he's in the belief that it's quite powerful. Yeah, I think I've been saying you've wavered whether or not you like Small World or not. I've always been in the camp that I think it's a bit of a trap. It definitely reads really, really, really strong. But I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't what it was 3 years ago. 3 years
Which
ago,
is where that card would have just flourished.
When we were just playing Dark Warrior Turbo, if you could just search Neospace Connector from deck with 3 more copies, it fundamentally didn't matter what your opponent had, right? Like either it baited the Ash out of their hand, or you just got to access the greatest card in your deck, which inevitably won you the game. Now, I think there are a lot more options for interruption and decks that really can bypass what other decks are aiming to do. A Drytron board loses to a Kaiju, right? If you're maining them. So a Drytron player using Small World to find combo may end up hurting them in the long run.
Yes.
Whereas if you could hold maybe an Infinite Impermanence, something that you could put in the back row, or I guess in this case it would be a hand trap that you'd be banishing from your hand to search a combo starter, may end up impacting the match. It may end up leaving you a little bit resource starved. Decks like Virtual World, for example, like really thrive off the fact they end with several cards in hand at the end of the combo. And this card being a -2 in that you lose this card and a card from your hand just to add something that theoretically is only an extender for your combo. It's not like you're drawing a card in that sense. You're going to use the card immediately.
I'm interested. I feel like Small World will potentially see future use down the line. We've seen the application of it being used in decks such as like Gren Maju. just because obviously Grenmaju itself is such a unique card. It's really difficult to find.
And something you'd only be searching after you've established the simplified game state that Grenmaju will win you the game in.
Absolutely.
And it puts 2 cards in Banished, so that's kind of neat.
That is also quite lovely. I think that Small World... Yeah, I will say the one thing I will give it credit for is that none of it is cost, so you don't lose those cards if your opponent attempts to interrupt you. And I feel like in decks such as Salamangreat, let's say it's a deck such as like Virtual World, if it were to be applied there, though your cards in hand are so important. So being able to effectively make your trade for what you're looking for using Small World without just losing a resource immediately is very good.
Yeah. But it is a bit of a trap. I think they made this card a secret. If it was a super, no one would be talking about it. The fact that it's a secret rare, I think, gives people the impression that Konami have plans for it. That's generally how high rarity cards end up. So maybe that gives the impression that there's going to be a deck down the line that just can play this with no restriction at all. And I mean, I guess the advantage in Virtual World is you can get the card back with Nyan. That's kind of
very powerful. And then I think finally closing in on the, Auroradon style, we've seen a lot of the utility of Cupid Pitch. We've seen a lot of it turning into Barons. As you said, there we go. Small World is the sort of card that could only be played in an archetype that is only thing in common with each other. Better to play it in a deck that doesn't have to shove in weird cards to bridge.
I get what they're saying. It's like,
I agree.
If your deck is made up of different types and attributes, it works nicer than if your deck is all mono type, mono attribute.
Yeah. And I think, maybe Salamangreat just...
has the buy. Good luck, Dino.
Gorgeous. It's a Salamangreat kind of just like skate by on that because, the inclusion of Parallel Exceed and, Ibly as like the third best option.
I mean, any normal summonable Cyberse is playable in Salamangreat, so not a huge deal.
But you've got to think like your normal summon in Cyberse, generally it's now Flame Buffalo, which is a fire, so that's already a fire Cyberse.
But I mean, normaling an Ibly, giving your opponent an Ibly, making Balinks I'm not going to say that's a bad play.
Agreed.
So including one Ibly, as he said, is not a huge deal.
No. And also, if you open Ibly Small World, that still gets you to Gazelle.
Well, it gives any Salamangreat Small World gets you to Gazelle then.
Yes.
Because it has to share something in common with Ibly that then shares something in common with
your search target.
Ibly.
Yeah.
But the thing it searches doesn't have to not match the thing you reveal. It's a confusing card. Greg, don't pull it up. No one's going to actually understand.
There's honestly, if you want to look more into Small World, there's some really comprehensive things on YouTube. I believe someone created a Small World simulator or like program.
Yeah, there's a game you can play if you want to just like test your knowledge of what Small World can get.
Yeah.
But realistically, you could probably just cheat with it and no one would know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the other game theory advantage of Small World is because it's not cost to reveal the search target. Unlike a card like Reinforcement of the Army, which your opponent can easily
assume.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you're going to get one of these 4 cards that I know are in your deck. Small World can literally get anything. So it puts your opponent in the back seat when they have to decide if they ash it or not. You may just be searching for like an effect veiler because you're like, I already have full combo, at which point the ash would be better suited to interrupting something on board. Whereas if they need the Small World to resolve to find combo, you don't know that.
You don't. And that's the thing, I guess, that is the utility of the card.
It's like a card designed for YouTubers to make like 13-minute videos about like, is Small World a good card?
Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay, live reporting. We're seeing the
Melfi, let's go
today.
Oh my god, there's no double ups.
I love it. Okay, looks like Dunedin's the new Palmerston North in terms of deck representation.
Are these all? They can't all be 2-ops. These have to all be 1-ops, right? How many people are here today?
20?
Yeah, they are all 1-ops.
These would be. They're all 1-ops. Okay, I was like, no way are 2 people on sous ship.
Yeah. Now today is 13 people with top 4 cut.
Okay, amazing. So 13 players, 13 unique decks. I think obviously the only one that we're seeing immediately coming out of Burst of Destiny is the singular Florwanderees player.
I'd say Evil Twin and Tenyi probably.
Okay, apologies. Evil Twin
some
is
relevance
very powerful.
Assuming they've picked up a Tenyi base with the new monsters, which I mean, of course, like Tenyi actually get an unironically huge boost out of not even playing Sword Soul main deck monsters.
Yeah, Chi-Zhao is a level 8 worm that can get you searches.
I mean, they can make Chen Ying extremely easily with their level 7s and just like generic extenders. But Tenyi, I love that deck, and they've always had an issue with having no payoff for their synchro setups because they lock you into worms, and the only worm synchros were Baxia and Draco Berserker.
And like the Yangzings were previously
or Baxia and Yazi.
Chaofeng.
They never made Chaofeng.
You can't make.
You were
Chaofeng
unable
like
to make a relevant Chaofeng in Tenyi. Other notable decks, we talked about Grand Marju might be playing Small World.
Sky Striker, we could potentially be seeing a Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer Sky Striker build. We've seen that's got a lot of popularity.
Earth Machine, it would be cool to see them on Ruin Force FTK. I doubt it, but it's very funny.
Yeah, Madolche, talk about a deck that can utilize Small World. That's actually very much a scenario.
Well, they're all Earths, right?
But they're different types.
Yeah, I mean, you can stack hand traps, but that might be a deck that needs to stack like some annoying cards in just to give you a bridge, because if they're all Earths, then you can't Small World for a Madolche into a Madolche.
No.
Which is generally what you want to be doing with the card.
Yeah.
We saw Magic-Key, we saw Salamangreat. Pendulum Magician is always interesting because it's like the highest roll deck
with the biggest payoff, yeah.
But the payoff is you get Soul Charge every turn, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And obviously we've seen this is now what, Joker to 2, Iris to 3. Yeah. So access to your normal summon Stratos, your Iris getting your Pendulum Graph spell traps, and as you said, Soul Charge every turn, especially if you've got the link arrows. And we've seen a lot of unique pendulum builds utilizing Dagda, giving you the Scythe plays. This deck can do quite a bit. Virtual World, I think this is obviously super powerful. Lucas and I is kind of one of our favorites.
I imagine it's the same dude who plays it every time. It could be different, who knows?
But you know what? It's still good. The deck is...
I hold true. This is still like probably the 3rd or 4th best deck this format.
Yeah.
And still very few people play it. It got like 3 tops at a regional recently. Where it was like everything was either Lyrilusc Try or Virtual World. Somewhere in like South America. And then like the next 4 tournaments, it just doesn't show up in Top Cut. It's so funny.
It's such a fascinating deck because it is, I don't want to, it's not high roll. It can just be a bit of like a mid risk.
No, it's not the high roll. It's
no, at all. It's very like a mid.
Yeah,
it's a very mid risk deck. I think, that preconceived notion of, you're drawing your level 6s and no ways to summon can be a bit of a concern, but this deck has evolved to kind of work through that now.
Well, high roll and consistency are different, right?
Yeah.
Because high roll implies that your deck has an extremely strong board if you draw
it's an
XYZ
scenario.
Right?
Yeah.
Virtual World always makes the same board and they can adapt it. Every card searches every card, right? But the problem with Redub is consistency, where people try to tech in different things like, again, Small World, a lot of prosperity, trying to throw maybe like Speedroid cards in there, like Terratop, Takatomborg to get you a little bit more of a push if you just don't open like the relevant cards. Like there's a few ways you can take it, but generally your end board is Shen plus 2 interrupts pass with 3 cards in hand. And I think that's what makes the deck so resilient, is that that's just going to be a good board forever. It reminds me of Dark Law Pass. Like there's never going to be a deck that doesn't want its cards engraved. There's never going to be a deck that can easily play through targeted once, like quick effect destruction effect.
Yeah.
And those kind of baseline stats are what pushes Virtual World and even Evil Twin, similar kind of idea. Just bread and butter Yu-Gi-Oh! 1-for-1 interactions that, eventually grind you out the game are particularly strong. Melfi's fun. Talk about a high roll deck. That deck really relies on drawing its 6 of Obedient Schooled or Rescue Cat, but when it does, it's very
when
fun.
it does well. And again, like level 2 beasts continue to be good. Like we're seeing, the introduction of Kit, that's a super powerful play. Obviously there was no Sky Cavalry Centaurio reprint, so unfortunate to that scenario. But
Joyous Melfi's is kind
Joyous
of
at the Melfi's at the Forest.
It's like your in-archetype Zeus Maker that has massive upside because it's so strong.
Yeah, and just being able to search Alpha, the King of Beasts, you can just play your Tri-Brigade engine in there so that you have your Shurake summons. Like, there's so much that the deck can achieve as a rank 2 deck partnered with really powerful links. I think Gunkinship's super interesting. Fire Aqua.
They got a lot of support in Burst of Destiny.
It's a lot of main deck monsters and obviously new XCs because they're, based on the flavors of the sushi.
I'd like to see what they do with it if we can get it on stream. It is an issue with the deck that it doesn't have a lot of interruption. It's very good at gaining advantage and making its plays, but generally the ships aren't quick effects, and generally you have to wait for your turn for them to be extremely effective. But I'd be interested to see where they take it. The deck is fairly concise. You could just play like Rescue Rabbit, a few Gunkan cards, and try to get off to the races that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I haven't read the new Gunkan cards. I've read the original ones from Dawn of Majesty, but the new Sue ships are not the first thing on my mind.
Yeah, I might actually have to
we can do some live research.
I'm going to read those right now while Ruben rambles for 3 minutes so I can be ready.
Yeah, I think that, Xyz decks have always been interesting. Obviously, people are looking for an Xyz deck now that Zeus has kind of fallen out of the format, and Gunkan can get to their ranks or their XYZ plays quite confidently. Why don't you use that awesome app, Yu-Gi-Oh! Neuron? That's a really detailed way of
use the awesome app, Google.
Okay, that also works. I think, finding an adequate XYZ strategy to kind of put your Zeuses into is definitely valid. I feel like that's, there's a lot of options for Gunkan ship. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see if we do get that on stream.
Ask.
It's fine.
How's the Sue ship player doing? Are they 1-0?
I think, yeah, all in all, very diverse turnout today. What do you peg for the win? Just as a little guess. Or what do you peg? What do you think is going to be doing quite well? What do you think will make top four?
Magic-y was looking kind of clean there. As long as they don't brick. I mean, Sky Striker, every Dunner's event seems to top. It's again, probably the one guy. I think it's Tamatea. I mean, he tops. I mean, that deck's pretty good. Seems pretty decent with it. His build is solid.
Yes.
So the new rank 4... If it's Xyz summoned, apply these effects based on the material used for its Xyz summon. Rice Sue ship, draw a card. Ice Fish Sue ship, add a Sue ship spell trap. So it's a searcher.
Oh, well, that gets your field spell.
While there's a face-up card in the field zone, Sue ship monsters summoned from the extra deck can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and they gain attack equal to their defense. Okay.
Well, that's great because Sue ship Shari is like 1900 defense but 0 attack.
I mean, again, the issue, like that card doesn't have any text on it during your opponent's turn, but relevant. And then the new kind of aircraft carrier 1 is while a face-up card is in the field zone, Sue ship monsters from the extra deck can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Also, they gain attack equals their own defense.
So same calls.
Oh, wait. No, this is the same card. What? This is the same card written in reverse. I'm going to keep researching. We've got a minute left to the next round.
So you've got...
Oh, this is the super.
It's Uni and...
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the main deck monsters. Reveal another Gunkan in your hand, special summon, and then apply the effect revealed. So Shari, you can special summon the Rice, and then you place the revealed monster on the bottom of the deck. You can target one Gunkan monster you control, change it to 4 or 5, then add a Shari from deck to hand. Okay, so it very much they're trying to facilitate your rank.
The new super does have a quick effect.
Okay.
So if you make it with Shari, you draw a card. If you make it with Uni, this card can attack directly. And then during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase,
so
you can negate monsters your opponent controls equals the number of Gunkan monsters you control, special summon from the extra deck. I mean, this is what happens when a card's printed at super. It is not actually a quick effect. That kind of sucks. This card would be legit quite good if it was like during either player's turn full stop, but this deck is like $3, so Konami's not going to make it that good. Oh, that's neat. I'd like to see what this person has in mind if they have like just a rank 4 package.
Oh, the Ice Fish is powerful. If you control the Rice or an Xyz monster that has Rice, you can special summon it from hand, and then you can, during your main phase, special a Gunkan monster from hand, except Ice Fish, and then you can take any number of Shari from your deck or grave and place them on top of your deck in any order.
I mean, this is what I was saying about the deck, is that it's really good at going like +3, and then it just passes on actually nothing.
So I feel like that's there's a lot of utility. Also, like, them being aqua types, that makes it quite unique in that strategy. Like, that's a unique typing.
Yeah, it's not very supported, but I guess it's funny because they're not waters, you can't make Bahamut Shark, which is like one of the best plays, like generic water attribute decks I've had. Almost feels deliberate considered they're like a rank 4 turbo deck.
Yeah.
Everyone would just turbo out multiple copies of Totally Awesome and call it a day. So I guess that's kind of neat. They've locked you out of just doing that, unless you play like the new DNA surgery for attributes. I don't know.
Sure, Dave. All right, round 2. So we've seen Magic-y take a round. What do we think we're going to see next round?
It's up to Greg. Greg, you want to tell us?
Yeah, Greg chooses. Greg is the decider.
Someone's pumping their fist in the air.
All right. So we have reached time of the round, so we are expecting round 2 to be starting momentarily.
Yeah. Should we take this moment to plug the pod?
Yeah, if you guys are enjoying Yu-Gi-Oh content, obviously subscribe to Team Dice Jar Games, but also if you'd like some in-depth commentary, conversation, and discussion on all things Yu-Gi-Oh, you can feel free to head on over to the Face Downs. That's at YouTube or Spotify or any app that or your local podcast app. And give us a listen, give us a follow, give us a subscribe.
We do videos now. Joe from Palmy's on the podcast. We talk shit about everyone in Yu-Gi-Oh! New Zealand. It's great. You should definitely listen to it.
Yeah. Okay, looks like round 2 we're going to be starting. Okay, so we see Tamatea here, classic.
This has to be Sky Striker.
Surely.
Man Tamatea has been consistent. There it is, baby. Get that on the screen.
So Tamatea has been a very consistent Sky Striker player.
He wins like most of these, or at least tops them. Because, I mean, Sky Striker is just good.
Sky Striker is a great deck.
Don't really know what to say about it. It adds 3 cards a turn from grave to hand. A lot of people haven't read the cards. Ooh, and we're seeing Tenyi, piloted by Matthew Riley Bell. Anyway, Tenyi's dope.
Okay, I'm excited. We see, classic strategy versus something that's got a bit more invigoration.
Well, Tenyi have the field spell that makes all non-effect monsters untargetable or unaffected, which is pretty good against Sky Striker. I mean, a lot of their cards need to affect things to do anything.
Yeah, and I mean, similar to Sahasrara, you cannot target non-effect monsters while you control... you cannot target effect
player
monsters,
can target effect monsters. It's a very, very weird, almost a floodgate.
Yeah.
Where Tenyi struggles and where I've kind of found, Sword Soul does pick up the slack, is they're very resource hungry. Generally with Tenyi, you want to be drawing Vessel or you lose the game. And it's quite difficult to draw it. It's not searchable off Heavenly Dragon Cycle, which is the new search spell, which only searches Tenyi spell traps. But that can search the field spell and the counter trap, which are both particularly relevant. I'm surprised no one's actually played Heavenly Dragon Cycle in Sword Soul. It literally just says tribute a worm, quick effect, add a worm from deck to hand. And then if you tributed a non-effect monster, you can special it instead. It's very strong. But I guess
it's no Vestal.
I mean, it is Journey Preparations, which is going to make Fluanderees like a lot better when Battle of Chaos comes out. All right, so I didn't see the die roll, but Sky Striker is pretty good at going second, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're happy either way. I know Tamatea plays are going first variant, so I imagine he'll want to go first if he can.
So I guess we obviously know the suite of Sky Striker spells. Tenyi obviously have a lot of interesting stuff. A searchable counter trap that negates and banishes. Is that correct?
Yep. And Vashuda's like quite a nice out to just an established board being able to bounce any card. We've seen it in Sword Soul. We'll definitely see it here if Matthew
is going second.
Yeah. And then if this is pure Tenyi's, there is a chance we just see main decked Kaijus. Because Vashuda can just bounce a card an opponent controls, you can Kaiju them and then bounce
the Kaiju
back to your hand and then use it again.
I don't really think we're going to be using a Kaiju twice on Sky Striker.
No, but I mean, it's
application.
It's neat to get it back for next turn and just basically Luna Kaiju your opponent out of the game.
I mean, realistically, if we do see Tamatea on Destroyer, Phoenix, Enforcer, that is a lot more applicable.
Could be relevant. But I think DPE is really badly favored against Tenyi. They have to like shotgun it on a monk of the Tenyi, which never feels great.
It is a matter of just like, if you're aware of Tenyi's strategy, it is truly just to keep them off their non-effect monsters, because that's how the Tenyi monsters get their secondary effects.
All right, so Tenyi is going first. We're leading with Ashuna, the best one. If you control a non-effect monster, can just banish itself from the graveyard to special a Tenyi from deck and locks you into worms. So generally doesn't see as much starter play. And there's
Perfect.
Vessel.
So sending a worm, and if you control a non-effect monster, Sword Soul.
Yeah, I imagine there'd be some Sword Soul cards in here just due to how powerful they are. Taya, definitely the best one if you're not playing pure. Just lets you banish and summon a token at any point.
So we see the ad of Adhara. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to go forward into a Shaman to reborn that Taya.
And this is what I was saying about Tenyi. If they didn't have Taya here, to get to a level 8 Synchro, they have to use 2 monsters. Wow, going for the monster reborn here.
So summoning the Hata, summoning the Taya.
Yep. And yeah, they'd have to use like Nahata or like Adhara plus Ashuna to make one level 8 synchro. The Sword Soul cards just make level 8 synchros on their own, which is just incredibly powerful.
I believe we're going to see the Shaman. This will put a valid banish target in grave to create the token. So I would probably see banishing the Nahata. I feel like Ashuna and Adhara have a lot of application.
And the neat thing here is that Taya can make...
of course, you can just banish the monk.
Yeah, Taya can make Chi Zhao here, potentially. And if doing so, can give you a really good discard target for Shaman. So summon is discard, then summon back a worm. Chi Zhao can just search, for example, Moye. Okay, we're getting an effect veiler here.
That makes sense on the Taya.
But like Chi Zhao could search a Moye that you could then discard and then reborn off Shaman as part of the same effect.
Yeah, worm... like you said, 10, you got a lot more tools because of Burst of Destiny.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're seeing Shaman discarding the Mapura.
Probably reborning Ashuna or Nahata, any of them really.
Is Nahata a tuner?
No. They don't have...
Or isn't Shatana a tuner? Oh.
None of the level 4s. I think maybe Mapura, but none of them are tuners. The only
Nahata
tuner
is
you
not
have...
a tuner, as we can see.
The only main tuner you have access to is Adhara, which is...
Okay, that hand was a 4 Skystrike, 4 spells.
And this is where the deck will differ from Sword Soul. They're a normal or non-effect monster-based deck, so potentially we could see the counter trap or the field spell thrown down here.
So we see the Ashuna to summon from deck.
Yep.
So we're locked into worm effects from the extra deck after using... Or 10-year effects from the extra deck after using the effect of Shaman. And now we're on to the Ashuna to go through to now lock you into the here.
So we could either see another Shaman get made here or potentially a Sahasrara. Now Sahasrara is their sort of effective floodgate. Oh, no, we're seeing a normal of Adhara.
Normal summon, yeah.
Oh, that's right. We searched Adhara earlier in the combo.
We did, yeah.
So we could either see Draco Berserker or just a Chi Zhao for next turn. Going for Draco Berserker.
Berserker's quite interesting. If they activate the effect of Ray Engrave, you can just banish it.
Now, of course, they still get the Ray effect, but they won't get the Ray recursion. And now we'll probably go and see into a Sahasrara, which this is an interesting card. So while you control a non-effect monster, you cannot target effect monsters on the field with card effects. Right now, Matthew is completely exposed to a Widow Anchor or something like that. Until Tamatea lands a monster, Sahasrara can target a monster your opponent controls, make a token with equal stats. Which once that is on the field makes Sky Striker a lot worse. However, Tamatea has a lot of opportunity before summoning a monster to interact with this board.
And that's kind of where Sky Striker thrive, is they don't want to be putting down their monsters into pieces of interaction.
Yeah, the Veiler definitely put us off, the ideal combo where you'd end on a significant number more monsters, perhaps even a monk, so that Sahasrara was live immediately.
So we're thinking here, I think you obviously have... So Mapura and Nahata are on destruction of normal monsters.
Yeah, both of them. So Mapura can negate an effect that targets a normal monster, and then Nahata can modulate the attack points of a normal monster when it battles. The one we haven't seen is Shatana, and then of course we're seeing the afterburners. Like I said, you are able to target effect monsters while there is no normal monster on the field. Oh, but we have not drawn Ray. This could be bad for Tamatea.
This is an interesting scenario because the Sahasrara isn't an immediate threat. Okay, we do see another Taya.
10 years of deck full of starters, so I'm not surprised to see one here. Even a normal summoned 10-year into a monk would turn the entire graveyard on.
Okay, so we're going to see the Taya banish. I believe it. Yep, there's the Chalice.
Once again, you can target Taya because there is no normal monster. That is unfortunate, but can't be helped, really.
I mean, we're really wanting to push forward.
Taya can dump Mare for Shaman to bring back. It can.
Yes. Mare is a worm.
I think this deck is mad underrated.
Okay, we're just pumping, making sure to get the damage off the boosted. Oh, is it boosted?
It is boosted by Forbidden Chalice.
I think 22.
How much is Taya normally? 18?
18?
Yeah, we've gone for 22 here.
So that's a significant hit here. We are seeing the...
Dino was right. The play 10-year had before this was literally... Vessel, dump Mare, and then you would use Mare to reduce the impact of how negative you would go off 10 years making synchros. Because
we are seeing a concession from Tamatea here. Yeah. You just have nothing, unfortunately. That's so unfortunate.
I mean, Mare dual synergy, making non-effect monsters, allowing you to just make a free Yazi or a free link for they're both pretty cool effects. And I really love this deck. I think it's really good. I think Sahasrara is an underrated floodgate. It turns off, for example, cards like Cherubini because they can't target a Burning Abyss monster on the field. They can't use the dump cost. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Sahasrara in tandem with a normal monster in the field spell, your opponent can't break that board.
Yeah, and the point is if you have the field spell, like you said, normal monsters are unaffected. You really do have a little bit of a lock.
It is a soft lock, yeah, because we do just want to be getting rid of the back row.
They have to draw back row removal or a monster that can battle over what is usually a very big normal monster.
But even then, if they summon the monster, then Sahasrara will just create another token. So it's very fascinating. What are we seeing? What are we expecting? Do we think Sky Striker will still opt to go second in this matchup?
I think they lost the die roll. I think Tamatea would have happily gone first there.
No, but do you think that obviously Tamatea is on the play?
You go first for sure.
You're opting to go first in this scenario?
Yeah, Tenyi have access, like I said, to a huge suite of going second board breakers, but not a lot of them are equipped for Sky Striker, particularly. Like
it's
I said,
really only the Vishuda.
Vishuda and Kaijus are extremely good against combo decks that make a lot of interrupts. And of course, Kaijus are good against Sky Striker, but if Tamatea just like sets 3 and passes, like that could probably do it. They're also weak against floodgates. They just simply they will scoop to a goes and match. There's literally nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Unless they start with Adhara, because then you can make Monk.
And then speaking of floodgates, do you think we're going to see some back row sided in from Matthew? The back row removal?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, sad to say Mystic Mine is probably the best win con. I mean, they have outs, right? Tenyi? Maybe not.
I mean, boarded, I would expect it to be less of a win con.
Dino's right. They don't really have a natural out because they don't make a lot of negates. Mystic Mine is unfortunately
quite powerful.
Yeah, pretty good. I'm just trying to think if there's any way they can clear their own monsters.
I mean, you can link Sahasrara and things. I mean, the thing is that they've all got link monsters that they can climb to.
They might be playing the Sword Soul Trap, actually.
Oh, Blackout.
Blackout is pretty good in this deck because if you open Tenyi plus Blackout, you open Interruption. And it can be banished from grave to make normal monsters. So I could actually realistically see them being on. Because otherwise, what do you search if they're playing a Chi-Zhao? Like another Taya doesn't seem as relevant. And you don't make Baron in this deck.
Okay, so we are seeing Matthew going first. We're going to see the Ashuna into Monk.
Show me the Vessel, buddy. Just draw Ashuna Vessel every game.
Survey says... Okay,
right,
now we're going to go Taya.
Taya first. Doesn't necessarily mean there's no Vessel. He might just be playing
Interesting.
Ash.
This does signal that there's not another Tenyi in hand.
It could do.
Well, you would have summoned it before.
Yeah. Okay, we're going straight for Ashuna here.
Okay.
So obviously this deck doesn't mind being locked into worms, unlike Sword Soul.
Not in the slightest.
Which is cool to see. I mean, Ashuna is like a crazy good card.
Yeah.
Just a native +1.
Okay, I'd assume that we're going to see a link into the Monk here.
So we make Catasta. Oh no, you're locked into worms.
Yes, Catasta, my favorite.
Make Hyper Librarian. Just cheat.
Yeah, soft cheat. Yeah, they errated Librarian to be a worm. Crazy.
We do play Long One. Interesting to...
The Chenyang.
I mean, I'm going to be real. Tenyi's a real cheap deck. Baron is $300. I could see it being just like...
Well, no,
needed.
it has to be for Chenyang because we've just seen the Arshan.
Well, I was wondering why he didn't open with Long One into Baron to play around hand.
Yeah, Baron is a cushy $300 right now.
Yeah,
so.
Baron is currently completely inaccessible.
So congratulations to everyone who owns one or /pull one. Cries and Denglong. Yes.
That's true. Denglong's a 5. Oh, could this deck get Denglong? Come on.
Do you see the burn?
Can we just have to give
Do we
this
see
deck...
the burn for 12? Burn for 12 people? Yeah. Burn for 12?
We got to give this deck Denglong and then like ban every Sword Soul card so they can't play it. Because I would love to see Tenyis with Denglong.
That's unfortunate. We missed the burn for 12. You can stall out the next 27 minutes.
Yeah, against Sky Striker, what are they going to do? Attack you directly? I mean, I can't see it.
I don't think. All right, so we see the Chi-Zhao.
And yeah, like this is just Sword Soul.
Is it a secret rare or a Starlight rare? I don't know.
This is just Sword Soul with extra steps, and sometimes those steps pay off. I mean, if he is on Field Spell, that's a really strong card. Does just read Pot of Greed sometimes, which is quite nice.
Your opponent normal special summons a monster.
I mean, this is looking like a really...
Reduce the tire dump for the Mare.
Oh my god.
I mean, this hand is very interesting.
How does Striker beat Yazi?
And we see the ad of Blackout. Absolutely correct here.
How does Striker beat Yazi?
I'm unaware.
They can't target it.
This is incredible. Hang on. If Tamataya opens no back row interruption, the Chen Ying has a destruction substitution effect to banish a card.
Yes.
So using it in tandem with the Blackout, we get a destruction for 2, and then the Chen Ying banish from field and grave.
Did you just realize this?
No, I know this, but this is really utility.
It's definitely what you're meant to do in the deck. Were Baron and Nibiru not real cards? Unfortunately, they are. So Mare, I mean, if you want to just go really... Yazi's only monster targeting? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, cannot be targeted by monster effects.
Yeah, card sucks. DP would be the only Yazi out if... Well, yeah, if that was not true.
So we see...
Shaman. I mean, this is just greedy. I mean, if Tamatea drops a nib, this is the fattest nib of all time. Because we've used the Ashuna already. I guess you could probably summon a Tenyi from hand and set the Blackout, which is not the worst thing in the world. See, we're making Sahasrara here. And I mean, he's really just saying to Tamatea, like, look, if you don't have Nibiru, I'm going to make a billion guys. And Sky Striker actually really...
the disrespect, the Sky Striker token.
Sky Striker really struggles with outing like 4 dudes with 3,000 attack. Like, they can do it. But provided they aren't able to target those monsters, that seems a lot harder. Yep, and we're just setting Blackout and passing. I mean, this is like 5 interrupts.
We have the Sahasrara protection, we have the Blackout interruption, we have the Chen Ying interruption, we have the Chi Zhao interruption.
Yeah, this is like 4 interrupts.
Really strong.
It's any targeting? I thought it was.
Yeah, cannot be targeted by card effects.
Read the fucking card.
Okay.
All right, some beef.
Yugo players can't read.
Dino, you've been called out. Do you have a response? My guy Tamatea really do be looking at Sahasrara like, uh-oh. Targeting the token. Sick. Love to see it. And, now he can play Yu-Gi-Oh! But does he have... A, does he have Ray? And B, does he have anything that can stop, inevitably, that Ray getting banished to high hell? Because Chen Ying doesn't target, you can Blackout target the Ray, and if they chain it out, you can just Chen Ying on res and banish the Ray and the thing they summon simultaneously, which is ridiculous.
Draw a pass. Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad one.
He has an out to Mystic Mine, which is kind of sick, you know? Okay, there was some other card that's recent that was monster only. I'm mixing them up with. Your wife can't read. True.
Your wife can't read.
Can we get Azalea Banks in the chat?
Yeah.
What does she think about Sword Soul?
So I think,
the hand shuffling is telling me he's lost the game.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
There's a lot of thoughts and prayers.
There's a lot of
time.
thinking going on, which in Sky Striker generally isn't where you want to be.
So Chi Zhao banish
there's
one
a monster in that hand.
Oh, Dasher.
It's Dasher.
No.
Let's go.
No, I don't know what it is.
Let's go, Dasher. You can do it. I mean, how do you out this board? This is still like 3 interrupts. And I mean, if you summon any monster, you just can't target their stuff again. Like, what do you do? Twin, sure. Like, I don't know. Sure.
Okay, work.
We have -1 to out Blackout. Yep, Twin Twister, discard a card, target up to 2 spell traps on the field and destroy them.
I guess maybe if you thought there was maybe like a Blackout and a Fists, like if that was the ideal. Okay.
Azalea would get banned instantly from the chat.
Nah, we should keep around. Okay, well, this is interesting because also I believe Sahasrara has to trigger on effect monsters? Or is it just if your opponent summons a monster?
I don't know. Like, is this actually very good? This is the worst Ray in the deck. Giving him the Striker token. Oh, the BM. Here's one I brought for you, bro. maybe Matthew's playing Engage. You never know. Damn, Tenyi also looking kind of hot. Can we get some Tenyis in the chat, baby?
Yep, Sahasrara trigger. Create the
Just
token.
Make a token. Good, nice Sky Striker deck.
You have to interrupt here. Unless,
what do you do? Because the Chen Ying just banishes your Sky Striker monster. Like, you've got nothing. Jesus. Like, Sahasrara here, like, baits any Widow Anchors they have, and then you just have Chen Ying.
Okay, we do have 3 spells in grave.
Sure. This is rough. This is
a lot of... Yeah, thoughts and
All
proof.
right,
Nope, we
we
get
are
the
getting
token.
the token, which is Gore's-like. It is the same as Hayate, so he can crash here if he wants to.
So very easily, Hayate can attack directly, and after damage calculation, can send a striker card from deck to grave.
I think what's neat here is we're seeing like Burst of Destiny really improving all decks.
Agreed.
We just watched Magic-y pop off with the new support. Now we're seeing Tenyi pop off with Sword Soul cards. Is a Widow Anchor
we do have the Widow.
targeting the token? Come on.
Yep.
Oh, he can't. He tried to target something else.
Yes. Negate. Token.
He's just going to negate Hayate, and then he's going to banish it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do we Chenying here?
I assume so. I mean, a negated Hayate is not particularly scary, but you've lost access to banishing here, so Chenying is just like turned off.
I feel like we definitely...
I feel like you go for it. I mean, there isn't...
Yep, no, that's game.
Just scooping the... I mean, Jesus, that was a board and a half. Again,
incredible play from Matthew. Yep, we do actually have new striker support as well. The Kaiju that is yet to be announced. No, wouldn't have helped. But you know,
be cool to have. Strategic Striker Hamp.
Yep.
It's not going to be its name, surely.
HAMP.
I've been smoking on that HAMP, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so we're seeing some swift 2-0s here.
Some established toss decks that were the best decks 2 years ago getting blown out by Burst of Destiny support. All right, we got him here.
All right, hello. Congratulations, Matthew, on that round 2 win. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. It's a matchup that I've played a few times at locals now.
I've never been ever lost every single game.
Yeah, so
I mean,
pretty
we were saying
confident on that one.
the stream, Sahas Rara versus Sky Striker is just such a bastard. Like,
yeah, exactly.
having to afterburn as a token just can't feel good.
Yeah, I played that wrong too. I had double Widow on hand, and I was like, if I can steal both of those dudes, and I completely slipped my mind that he'll just get another token, and then I missed my opportunity to clear
interact.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw you go for the Widow Anchor and realize maybe
like,
a little bit too late. You're like, oh, I don't want the token. In fact, you can't even target the token.
You can't. It's not an effect monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, well, incredible plays. So Matthew, what inspired you to bring Tenyi today?
I started off joining Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing a worm deck known as Phantasm Spiral because somebody gifted it to me. And I've kind of just been playing worms ever since, so when Tenyi came out, I picked them up and been playing them, and then I wanted to kind of give them a bit of a power-up, so I threw in a little bit of cheaper Sword Soul stuff as well.
And how are you finding that? Obviously, the introduction of these Sword Soul cards does provide some really unique strategies. So what are your feelings on the new additions?
So they're really strong. Especially good to have things like Taya, just because Tenyi doesn't really need its normal summon anyway, so it just gives you kind of like an actual normal summon that starts combos, which kind of makes
We were also noting how it can synergize with Adhara to like give you can banish things you want back.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, it seemed really cool. I definitely explored Tenyi when they came out. I really liked, I was just playing like kind of Kaiju Tenyi with Vashuda going second with, powerful going second cards. And it was fine, but I found that the Tenyis themselves were quite average at making their own monsters. You generally have to commit a lot of resources to just get a Shaman plus a Monk in that deck, but the Sword Soul cards being 1-card level 8 synchros seems like just insane. Really good.
It's fantastic, and it kind of opens up the possibility to play Tenyi as more of a control deck, whereas I feel like it didn't quite have the consistency for it previously.
What Tenyi cards are you on? Are you on the field spell? Or the counter?
So I'm
let's not legalist.
Actually,
yeah, let's not legalist until after the event. I know you've got a lot of curious minds.
Yeah, what you got to do is you got to win, and then your deck list will be published, and then we can look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, if
which
you
is
wanna
looking
look
pretty
it
good
up,
so far.
I think Team Tacky Timmy's is also gonna put up the same deck list.
Okay.
From last weekend at our locals. So.
Incredible. I mean, I think this is such a unique strategy. And so what do you expect to see going forward? Obviously, this is round 2. Your record is 2-0, is that correct?
Yeah, record's 2-0. I have no idea
quite what to
Let's go. No idea quite what to expect. So far, Infinitrack has proven the most difficult.
Okay, knocking Earth Machine out. I like that. And then is there anything that you're expecting to see today? Like anything that you've like ticked towards, or?
Not really. Most of my side deck is ticked towards beating Subterra Guru, but Troy Reeves is not here today, so...
Okay, well, adjust the list then.
Just simply cheat and change your list.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for showcasing such a unique deck strategy. And I wish you the best of luck. Obviously, anyone that makes top 4 does receive an invite to a future event, so we hope to see you in the top 4.
Awesome, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Not bad. I was going to ask Tamateo about his Sky Striker text, but he seems to have...
On bathroom break, potentially.
True, yeah. You only get a few minutes between rounds. They are very precious.
Yeah, and I mean, Tamateo is a stream regular. We've spoken to him quite a bit, actually.
We've seen him do really well. He definitely knows how to play Striker. I mean, he talked about a misplay.
You can note them, and that's the thing, is it's quite hard to... you can very much be sitting in a camp of like, oh, okay, yeah, this was... this is where it matters the most. And that's really where Striker is. Striker is very much a deck that will capitalize on your opponent's misplays, but in return, you are heavily punished by not being able to take any windows of opportunity.
Yeah, most of your cards are extremely high value one-for-one trade cards.
Yeah.
And as we saw there, like, if he could double Widow... hope you got another 50 minutes of fluff left in you. Let me tell you, buddy,
Gal,
we got like 3 hours a week of fluff in us.
If you would like to listen to another hour and a half of fluff, please head to the Face Downs on
I'll fluff anybody.
On YouTube and your local podcasting app. And please feel free to subscribe or hit us or follow and comment below with any questions, because we will answer them in our upcoming podcast.
We're just going to repeat the phrase, subscribe to us on YouTube over and over again for 15 minutes.
I'll do it once around, Dal.
There are also links in the descriptions as well for your channels as well. So.
Yeah. And if you want to PayPal me $15, just if you feel like it, I'll DM you.
So yeah, Tenyi seeing, as we saw the introduction of these Burst of Destiny strategies, I'm very impressed. That looked smooth.
And as I said, like, part of Tamatea's loss there was just he didn't read Sahasrara. It's just a very hard card to understand.
Absolutely.
You don't usually see like non-effects in Yu-Gi-Oh! You often see like negate the effects of X, or your opponents can't target X, but your opponent can't target effect monsters on the field while you control a non-effect monster. It's a sentence that takes a little while to understand. Convincing me to subscribe.
We have the giveaway upcoming, so please subscribe and we'll announce it. Yeah.
I got nothing. And I'm terrible at this.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Free product. Is that all that we can do? No, that's
I'll say your deck is bad on the podcast. How about that? And then you can get mad and we'll create a kind of community around that.
We'll manufacture beef, and as a result, you will be known.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a great job of convincing people to subscribe with this quality banter.
Oh, it's fine. I don't mind. If they want to, again, listen to quality banter, the Face Downs, links in the description.
Here's some quality content. The Striker Kaiju, would you?
Play it. Absolutely.
Okay.
It's a really strong card. Okay, Sub. Thank you.
Sick. Well, we got him in the end.
We got a gal. Would I play it? Absolutely. Maybe not a main deck inclusion. I'd be really interested to see what the other card is yet to be revealed. Obviously, this particular card is revealed from, I believe it's called the secret shiny box in Japan. That's not me making it up.
I've always been asked about my secret shiny box. You know what I'm saying, folks?
Yeah, and there's a really nice Soul deck in it. And I think that, we're yet to see the other card of support. This product in the OCG is introducing 2 new cards for the Sky Striker, Mayakashi, and Witchcrafter archetypes. So far, the Mayakashi one's been pretty funky.
The Mayakashi one is cracked, and the Striker one is like average. It's obvious they want to boost the worst decks, as opposed to just giving Striker like another engage.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see. I mean, you can give us another engage. You just put it to 2 on the next ban list.
Don't do that.
Yeah, so I think that we'll be interested to see if this comes through. I think Striker is very much, it is a deck that rewards diligence. It is a deck that rewards someone for sticking with it and being able to understand meta interaction. Obviously, based on the comments we've heard from all 3 players so far, it was understanding back row interactions because everyone was prepared for Subterra Guru, apparently, which is not here at this moment in time. What are your thoughts on everyone being prepped for Guru?
Everyone's prepped for Guru? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Everyone has said that they have prepped back row removal for Guru Gluru style.
Oh, well, there's one Guru deck, so I guess hope you get paired up with them.
There is no Guru here today.
There's no Guru deck?
No, they very much said that Troy Reeves is absent from this event.
Oh, right, the Boogeyman is not here. I don't know. Back row removal's good. People play Mystic Mine. That's
agreed. Back row removal is really strong. Reason. And obviously Sky Striker have Mystic Mine.
That's true.
And the ability to play so comfortably underneath it, it's not even funny.
Damn, it's hot in here.
Yeah, it's
getting real hot in the studio.
It's been 80 minutes and
I'm sweating.
Very much a moment of trying to remain cool, calm, and collected.
Real swamp ass kind of hours here.
Okay, that's not needed. We can redact that. Thank you. So I think that, the 10-year strategy we saw quite successful. Obviously, another piece, another unique interaction as we saw was the Tyre sending Mare, or Mare Mare, as people like to call it.
I don't know which one it is, yeah.
I mean, I'd assume Mare because it's supposed to be a seahorse.
I'd imagine so.
So that's obviously a really strong play. Then Shaman being able to be a worm revival is obviously also really strong as well. And I think that was something that your previous 10-year build included, but it was not as consistently able to be achieved. Was that correct?
You just had to draw Vessel. Or if you hard drew Mare, Shaman is one of those magical cards that doesn't target on activation. So you can discard the Mare as long as you have a legal target to just summon it back. But yeah, generally you just had to open Vessel, or you went -4 to end on like a Link 3 normal monster pass.
Yeah, and that's not effective anymore. But as we saw the introduction of Tyre being able to send it, Longwan being able to get you to your Chenying plays is, I think, really powerful too. Because your deck loves to banish, and Chenying is a incredible GoFundMe aircon in the studio. Well,
please.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Dal.
It's so hot. Can we GoFundMe to kill the sun as well? That would be good. Just replace it with the moon. We can deal with that.
And so I think, the introduction of Chenying, or giving, as we discussed, worms more synchro monsters, because it wasn't something that they had a lot of access to previously.
No, and it's not something that you'd see in the OCG either, in their meta, because of cards like Maxi. It makes more sense to play a deck that, like Sword Soul, that doesn't commit too many special summons. You can just end on Chijiao Pass and call it a day if you get Maxi'd, whereas in 10-year, you really need to special summon like 6 times. So I could see it being successful in our meta. I don't know how many 10-year cards end up in the mix, but there's certainly room for some of them.
I mean, we saw obviously it seems to be a bit more of a pure build, so the use of Nahata and Maputa are a bit more on a pure based build, but we see the inclusion of Ashuna, Adhara, and Vishuddha in Sword Soul strategies. So I think quite evidently that they are potentially the most powerful in the deck.
In terms of and Maputa are fairly bad. Like they have relevance, but they only protect normal monsters.
Yeah, and then we've seen the Shatana has utility otherwhere of being a really powerful level 4 water monster.
Shatana's actually probably one of the best ones, because the way people can out your normal monsters is by battle, right? If they're unaffected.
Yes.
Shatana just says if a normal monster is destroyed by battle, reborn it. And destroy the monster, or destroy a card on the field, I believe.
I believe it the attacking monster?
I think it's just a card on the field, and that card's generally the best one.
Agreed.
Maputa and Nahata. Maputa is targeting protection for normal monsters, so it technically would have negated the afterburners in that instance. But I mean, that, as we saw, wasn't a particularly relevant interaction. We've actually just had 2 matches where one of the players just didn't get to play. And they were the people facing down Burst of Destiny decks. So I guess the talks of power creep are correct.
Yeah, I mean, Sky Striker, there isn't much for it in Burst of Destiny. Obviously, we said the introduction of Destroyer, Phoenix Enforcer gives the deck a touch more legs, but even I personally, as a Striker player, it's not something I've really adopted. I just believe it is impactful, but at kind of what cost? Like,
I think it's inevitable, because as Bode increases the power of the format, every deck pre-Bode needs to look at the new cards and think, can I play these? And Striker has demonstrated that it very much can play Destroyer, Phoenix Enforcer, benefiting hugely from, the Celestial draw effect. Not really the Dasher, but I mean, that's not particularly relevant if you have Pot of Greed in your graveyard.
And I think that, you know, the continual recursion and being able to free up your main monster zone by destroying cards is, I think, something that's quite powerful.
There's a minimal window where you're vulnerable while DP's on the field. It doesn't last very long.
Yeah, and not to mention that Destroy Phoenix Enforcer bypasses any targeted protection, which is obviously Striker's biggest weakness, is not being able to target things that can't be targeted.
And it outs Imperial Order. So
it does out Imperial Order, the Floodgate de jour, which is, you know, so powerful. I feel like that was pegged on everyone's ban list predictions. You know, I was right. They weren't going to ban it. So sorry to everyone who was wrong.
You were right. They didn't ban it. And we were all upset that we were wrong because that card, we haven't seen it today, but, you know, it is just so match determinative. If one person drew IO or not can really decide the outcome of, you know, the entire tournament, right? If someone just is good at drawing IO. Plasma Gang, rise up. Do not play Plasma in Sky Striker.
Yeah, wouldn't recommend.
I mean, Widow Anchor, that could be hot. You Widow Anchor all their monsters and then tribute them for Plasma. Damn, that would be cracked.
That is quite funny.
I mean, Honest Neos is a card. You know, you can normal the Celestial. It outs Crystal Wing. I don't know. Oh, man. All right, 5 minutes until the next round. Let's think of a new topic. Yu-Gi-Oh card you'd most want to eat.
Medolches.
You got one? But
they're
like
cakes.
But they're like people. I don't know if that's okay. I don't know. Vanilla?
Vanilla. No. Okay, so we've seen Magic Key taking round 1. We've seen, obviously, Tenyu going forward to 2-0. I believe top 4 is obviously EXO, or a very good EXO 1.
Yeah, so it's 4 rounds and then top 4. If it is, I'm going to die.
It is 4 rounds and top 4, yeah.
You know.
Oh, this is a fun one. So live interaction from Joe. I have him asking the interaction of Fluonderies and the Unexplored Winds versus Geomath Mech Final Sigma. Can you tribute the Final Sigma using...
Answer now in the chat if you know the answer.
Hungry Burger isn't on the eat list.
Hungry Burger
will eat me.
Hungry
That's the
Burger
problem.
gonna eat you. I'm saying it.
Hungry Burger.
I'd eat a crab turtle though. Crab turtle's probably nice. Potato and chip cards, you take that back. Those are my babies. Don't eat those.
Unaffected by card effects. Unexplored Winds. One of my favorite. New super rare from Burst of Destiny.
Right, well, and there's no rulings ninjas in the chat. I believe you can, is the answer.
Yeah.
The ruling is that Unexplored Winds is what you would consider to be like a
substitution.
Yeah, it's a conditional
replacement
substitution,
effect, yeah.
like Monarch Stormforth that was historically ruled to be able to tribute a masterpiece that was unaffected by spell cards. It's similar to cards like Evenly Matched that upon
player.
Yeah, making the player send something again bypasses unaffected by card effects because Evenly Matched doesn't actually do what it says. It's one of those weird cards. Lucas and I went over this exact ruling the other day. Yeah, we did. Evenly Matched is one of those weird cards that doesn't do what it says. It says banish all but one card your opponent controls, but what it actually does is nothing, but makes your opponent do something. And so it's not a card affected tribute. It would if it had an ignition symbol, the colon.
A colon or a semicolon.
Yeah. What it says is if you would perform a tribute summon, you can tribute one of your opponent's monsters.
Send to grave.
Send to grave. But what that indicates is that it is affecting your action of tribute summoning. So for example, if you went to tribute summon a level 7, because it must be a 2 tribute monster, and a Final Sigma and a Lulu were on the field. When you go to tribute that monster, you don't declare which one you are tributing when you substitute the tribute. And therefore, it is absolutely fine for you to attempt to do it. It is also fine if only Final Sigma is on the field. It's more of just a... it doesn't really care what you're doing until after you've done it.
This is very similar to things like you said, Masterpiece was a really good example.
Yeah, Masterpiece was the classic.
You can make Masterpiece unaffected by spell effects. However, in that time period, the use of the Monarch Stormforth didn't target a monster or say monsters this turn. It simply said if you were to conduct a game action as a replacement effect, you can use a monster your opponent controls as a tribute.
Yeah,
and it's similar to Kaiju's.
No, it's the same reason you can't negate Balinks.
Yeah,
it's not an ignition effect that can be interacted with by Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Or Dingirsu to send, or Dingirsu to detach.
Like a card that said like this destruction cannot be prevented, or a card like Access Code Talker that says you can't respond. Balinks can protect in those situations.
Yes.
So there's a number of Yu-Gi-Oh cards that just don't do what's written on them, which is frustrating, but once you get the hang of like noticing it. I also thought at first that this thing could not tribute over like the Arrival Cyberse Adagnista.
You also thought it was once per turn.
Yeah, I also thought it was once per turn. Whoa, that card is cracked.
Really good one, Dull. That was a good one. Yeah.
It can't tribute cards that are unaffected by 5 seconds of Google searching. Sorry?
Yes. You can't use your phone during matches, unfortunately.
Oh, of course, yeah. Soft cheating, it's affected by that. So you can just tell your opponent they can't do it, and maybe they won't.
And unless if I am not in the room, if Lucas isn't in the room, then you'll get away with it, Doll. And you know what?
I'll notice. Eventually.
I feel the spirit of anyone that attempts to soft cheat, and it keeps me up at night.
I've just been playing Dueling Book, and that's great training for catching people cheating. They do it all the time.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong.
Oh my god. Someone just tried to use Karass twice yesterday. They're like, Karass summon Shureg. I'm like, yeah, interact. And then like later in the combo, they're like, Karass? I'm like, no.
Would you like to please read the last line of text?
I would really like you to just concede, actually. It was pretty good.
So yeah, Fluonderies, I would love to see them at a table here. I feel like that's a super unique strategy. I also wouldn't be surprised if they're doing quite well.
Yeah, talk about a deck that will just see another 2-0 if the opponent isn't prepared for it.
Also, its biggest struggle was like the back row setup kind of a style. And, this is, as we've heard, it is not evident at this a moment in time.
Yeah, Fluonderies' biggest weakness is open chain interaction, like Effect Veiler, things that you can't chain block. And also cards like a set Forbidden Chalice, Forbidden Droplet, Altergeist Protocol could be a bastard to deal with. Just anything that like kind of establishes a negate on the board that they are difficult, is difficult to play around. You can't Called by the Grave it, or stick your monster regardless of whether or not your opponent negates.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Fluonderies actually really struggle against known interruption. Like it's almost like the unknown is a bit more effective for them because they're a bit more adaptable and they know what is their biggest concern. But if you're aware of on-board negation or interruption, then your lines become a lot tighter.
And where they get a lot of strength is how they bypass a ton of relevant cards. I mean, Solemn Strike, they can't use it against any of your summons because it's only special summons. They have to use it on monster effects, which is generally worse for a card like Solemn Strike against a deck that can chain block. Shadows just have literally nothing against this deck. It's hilarious.
Despia, actually nothing.
Because all of their cards specifically kind of mandate extra deck or special summon monsters. So that's just a free matchup. Yeah, interesting. I mean, a deck like Sky Striker, for example, I think would have a very good Fluonda matchup because most of their interaction is kind of fast effect, open chain interaction and negation. So definitely a matchup dependent deck. All right.
Return of the Salamangreat.
Oh, we're getting another run on Salamangreat. Okay. I respect it. Want to see them pop off.
Is that Don Juan? Style. No, sorry. That's
kind of looks like him. The beanie.
It is
giving him that great hair.
Okay, so we see round 3 is about to begin. We see a returnee, Jake, with Salamangreat,
who really didn't get to.
It didn't get to shine. We heard so much about his unique deck building, and unfortunately, that just wasn't prevalent at this moment in time.
According to what I googled, you can't apply its effect to tribute by sending cards that are unaffected by its effects. That's not true. It's got weird interactions, like you can't use it under Zombie World, but
you can,
even though it sends, it doesn't tribute. But
you can't conduct tribute summons.
Exactly. I mean, we might be wrong, but everything I've read online and in rulings discussions has said you can.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't target or specifically.
It doesn't target, activate, or have an ignition.
You could probably still find people who think Stormforth doesn't tribute Masterpiece. Like, there's still kind of a discussion because we don't get official rulings on these things.
We get Japanese rulings that have to be converted over. Okay, this is Xavier Bain. This will be potentially Virtual World.
That's true.
This is the Virtual World pilot.
If there is a Japanese ruling that says you can't...
is this TOS format?
Virtual World wasn't legal in TOS format. Oh, what rule?
Is it TOS format? No, but a lot of people wish it was.
TOS is cheap. Like, you can buy TOS decks for like $15. So it's a pretty appealing thing for people who want to just like pick up a good deck.
Yeah.
With the $1,000 Sword Soul deck as your alternative. But Virtual World's also affordable now, thanks to the tins.
The tins, obviously, the original prints weren't that much to begin with.
No, it's mostly commons and supers. It's still an effect, but is it though? This is the thing with you. Is it an effect?
No, because specifically in the wording of Fluanderees and the Unexplored Winds, it is an effect to put back the Winged Beast in hands.
There is an OCG ruling. Are we just wrong?
Are we wrong?
We could just be wrong.
Story time, Face Downs proved incorrect by YouTube commenters.
I guess I will have to play Monarch Stormforth then. Interesting, because I thought those two cards were extremely similar, so if they are differently ruled, then that's news to me. Ruben's going to also Google it while I commentate over this.
Okay. Receive some insider information.
You found the
no, just we're seeing lists here, so we can discuss anything unique.
Right, Jake is going for, and we are seeing the small world. Let's go.
Okay, this is exactly what I want to be seeing.
Right, we got to pay attention to make sure this is a legal play. Revealing Nibiru. Okay.
So light rock 3,600.
Okay, so we have to, or level 11.
10. Oh no, 11.
No, it's an 11. Imagine if you could make Gustav Max with Nibiru.
Debug.
A light level 4 Cyburst with different attack stats.
Search
Adding
Gazelle.
That's pretty hot. Okay.
Yeah.
And I imagine the Nibiru is also a cross-out target. That's pretty hot. So both of those get banished face down. Thank God. And then and then you add Gazelle. So there you go. That is the -1 Search Gazelle combo. We open Signet Mining as well, discarding Bell. So didn't even have another Cyburst. Okay, Xavier thinking about Signet Mining. So we're putting Jake on 1 card left in hand plus Gazelle. Adding Spinny. And I mean, Salamangreat don't need much more than this to completely get off to the races. He's checking now to make sure this was illegal. I mean, I don't know Lady Debug's attack and defense off the top of my head, but I'd assume Jake has done the research on this deck to play Small World. Flame Buffalo was the last card in hand. Wow, that's a good-ass hand. Small World, Signet Mining, Buffalo, what was it? Nibiru. Pretty nice.
Bell.
Yeah. I mean, that hand would have been a lot worse without Small World. I mean, you still have Signet Mining, but...
Yeah, Debug is a 17-14, so that is fine.
Signet Mining would have just gotten you the Gazelle there, and then you would just have to, like, pass on Balinks plus, 1 trap, maybe? Couldn't even get the trap off of that. How's the ruling search going? Silence. Judge Ruben at work.
Judge Ruben is working at this moment in time.
All right, well, we're seeing Jake O'Malley performing the standard Salamangreat combo. Gazelle will generally dump one of the traps. He didn't have any of them in his hand to begin with. We know that. So you'll either get Roar or Rage here. Sending Rage. This is a card that can generally be used to target a Salamangreat Link monster summoned with itself. And then you can non-targeting destroy cards on the field up to its Link rating. And now he will bring out one of the All-Stars of Salamangreat, recently brought off the ban list, Mirage Stalio. Generally will summon Jack Jaguar if you don't have it from the deck. Or a Foxy. This card is just summon a Salamangreat from deck and you're locked into fires. It is insanely powerful. And it even has an effect if it's linked off to just shuffle a card on the field into the deck. All right, going into Sunlight Wolf, we'll activate the field spell. We will perform a game action to link summon a Salamangreat using itself. And then Sunlight Wolf can reset the Rage as an ignition effect. And then, of course, if any monster is summoned to its Link Arrow, as Jack Jaguar is here, you get to add back a fire from grave to hand. So,
yes.
Just
fire effect monster.
Yep. Just some bread and butter.
Okay. I will. Yep, this is the
We
OCG
were wrong.
ruling. When you perform a tribute summon of a monster that requires 2 tributes using the effect of unexplored winds, the effect of this continuous spell is applied to one card, or one monster you control, or one card your opponent controls and send them to grave. Therefore, this effect cannot be applied to monsters that are unaffected by spell effects, such as Horus the Black Flame level 6, or monsters affected by Forbidden Lance.
Okay, neat. I didn't know that. I guess it's just an effect that doesn't start a chain. God, that's weird. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I guess you can forgive us for, are always strange. I guess the difference is that Monarch Stormforth like activates and resolves without actually doing anything. Okay, so we're launching with King Long. King Long's a great launch into a board going second, because if it's popped, you get to search. So this is particularly strong, especially just knowing there's a rage set. Not going to be useful to banish anything, but yeah, like if Jake here uses the rage to pop King Long to fade this virtual world effect, you can just search another virtual world and continue play. So have to think here about whether or not you're going to use the rage aggressively or not. Could also, I mean, what was his other card he could have set? Did he have one more card in hand than we thought? He didn't draw any
Children's card
cards.
game. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Children's card game. Hand a child a copy of like
Small World.
World and just let them resolve it and see what happens. All right. Do we have Roar as well? That would be cracked.
I think
he's letting
he
it
let that resolve. Because realistically, it's Trap Monster.
So the best case scenario here is you send like Kowloon Nyan.
Trap Monster.
And
it'd be
Chuche as
Zhanwu.
well.
Zhanwu Nyan.
Sorry, Zhanwu. Or Chuche. But Zhanwu guarantees you like
a reborn.
If you normal a 3, you get a monster. And if that gets interrupted, you can still like get something. Yeah. So Zhanwu is like the best one to just like play through interaction with.
Absolutely, yeah. I will just, circling back to that Flauanderies, just because it's an OCG ruling at this moment in time, there's no confirmed TCG.
Yeah.
So it's a really interesting scenario of like, you can find an OCG ruling online, but if it hasn't been ported into the TCG format, then it's not an official ruling, unfortunately.
However,
It's more up to discretion.
This is good news for Sigma Grindset.
Yeah.
May be better than
we thought
it was.
Okay, I think, what are you realistically doing here? Are you, normal?
Going to try and summon back the Nyan.
We're going to trigger the one in grave.
Yeah. So this is giving them very few opportunities to like a clean rage, because now there's just threatening 3 virtual world cards on the field plus the King Long. Means that even if you rage for 2, they're going to have targets. Xavier yet to use King Long's grave effect as well. So if he has another virtual world in hand, he can use that, dump the King Long, and then inevitably get like a Lao to recover with.
This is an interesting one, because realistically, we fear either like something like a Fortune Tune that can't be targeted, or that can't be destroyed if it was
Just
to be
straight
destroyed.
into a Zeus. And I mean, that's not even terrible for him, because the King Long will be live.
Okay, Called By was the other set.
Not the end of the world for Xavier.
No.
That indicates all you have to play through now is a rage. So you can kind of you could chain the Zhanwu.
You could have changed Zhanwu there. That is
really
realistically what the hand is, though. And then I think we're going to wait on the resolution. Yeah. It's correct to stifle Xavier off of any tuner access, because obviously this is what he's lacking at the moment in time.
So we'll see how his hand plays out. It's possibly correct to chain the Zhanwu there, unless he has more virtual worlds in hand. Because now you can cleanly rage in response to a virtual world effect.
Yeah.
And put them off basically having any monsters on the field. So you'll want to target the King Long here generally. Going for, I guess,
Lao
target to grave.
Yeah, Lao target the Lili.
So Jake here can just pop both the monsters, and this is going to hopefully put Xavier just having any follow-ups, because he's used his normal. The Lao will not resolve because there is nothing left on the field that it initially targeted.
Yeah, so you cannot confirm the original target, therefore you cannot send a different type.
Yeah, so Xavier legit needs like Lulu or Gigi in hand
to continue.
Or Jake needs to misplay and pop the King Long. Those are his 2 ways to continue winning this game.
Okay, we did pop the King Long.
Pop the King Long? What? Okay. No, yeah, we're not doing that. A bit of a discussion about what is being destroyed here. If you pop the King Long here, you do lose the game to a Lulu, so that's a little scuffed. Because we've got that Zhanwu in grave as well. Like, there is always a way to get people back on the board. I mean, I guess this is kind of scuffed, because if you leave Nyan, Xavier has a tuner. And if you leave... Oh, sorry, Xavier has a non-tuner on field. If you leave the 6, then if he can stick another 6, you can just make a Zeus. All right, what are we discussing here?
I think...
So, of course, Rage does not target. So
Rage targets the Link monster.
Yeah. Xavier does not have an opportunity to, respond until he knows what is being destroyed. Perhaps having a ruling here? It's possible that Jake initially determined the Kinglong for destruction and now...
is opting to change.
Xavier is calling him out for changing. It's possible. He did point to the Kinglong first. That is reasonable, but the action had not occurred, so... Yeah, okay. So we're popping both the monsters. Lao Lao will not resolve. Perhaps he was asking if Lao Lao would resolve, which it does not. All right, so any other virtual world, and we can do it here with the Zhanwu. Because, of course, Zhanwu can reborn a monster that you can target and then continue to send the Kinglong. And a Zeus would be pretty clean here. I mean, we know Jake has the Gazelle in hand, but, playing through a double Zeus is not easy for Salamangreat. What are you tip-tapping away on?
It's a Floowanderee's mirror. So it's normal summon Eglin trigger field spell. The opponent triggers the field spell.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about that. I think Xavier doesn't know it wouldn't summon. That's fair. This is a common thing with Virtual World is, the Book of Moon VW interaction that was ruled differently in different regions as well. All right, so we are reborning. We're discarding one card from hand or sending it from hand to grave, I imagine.
I guess using the Lao Lao here, that's probably the safest. Okay.
Ditching the Lily. And I mean, that's fine because you have... wait, what?
He has no tuner access. This is the thing.
Wait. He has to have like another V-dub in hand or this is just
But it's not.
Nothing.
The last card in hand is the Lao Lao.
He's got 2 cards in hand.
Oh.
One of them's Lao Lao. The other one is unknown. I mean, if it's GG or Lulu, he's just the better duelist here, It's that simple.
Also, trigger Sunlight Wolf.
Yeah, weird summon zone. Don't know why he would do that.
Yeah, trigger Wolf, add back your fire effect monster. That's okay.
Did he just banish Nyan Nyan? It's negated. An inadvisable play.
There's a call by the grave on the Nyan Nyan. Unfortunately, you'll have to...
First chat of the game, baby.
Yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to shuffle back the other Nyan Nyan because of Call by the Grave. So that is incorrect play, unfortunately. Hopefully, Greg can catch that.
I'm starting to think that... it's definitely OTK if Salad lives. They're just making an access code.
Yes.
Or anything, like, at this point. Which means the Nyan Nyan's probably... It's just shuffling back another Nyan Nyan. It's not, like, massively irreparable here.
Yeah, I mean, deck order...
Sure, but deck order isn't a real thing.
Yeah, if you're really picky.
It would matter if Xavier had activated like a Pot of Prosperity or something.
Yes.
But that has not occurred, so it's not a huge deal.
Okay, thanks, Greg, for being on top of that one. Live reporting.
Yeah. Paying attention.
And Salad just absolutely thrives.
Yeah, if that's the play, then this is the end of the game, unfortunately. You don't even crash here. All right, well, it's nice to see Jake's deck, playing.
Absolutely. Like, I think it's amazing to see the small world actually fire off. It was really cool seeing that line.
It was kind of hot. I mean, Xavier drew really well. It was probably the called by there that was determinative.
Absolutely it was.
I'd argue if you had a dead second Lily in hand, then chaining the Zhanwu there was impactful, right? Because
that's so tough, though, because you've already activated the effect to reborn. So it means that if you put another one in grave, you don't get that reborn again. And as we saw, the hardest thing for Xavier is that he just had no tuner access.
The difference is if he'd stuck that Nyan Nyan, then Jake's in a difficult position because if he makes a Fortune Tune, he threatens a Zeus through the Rage. So having the 2 level 3s means you can bait the Rage and then follow up with the Lao Lao.
Absolutely.
I think would have been quite impactful. And I mean, Zhanwu is one of those cards that... there's the update jammer.
Yep, and we're going to see the concession. Yep, thank you.
Zhanwu is one of those cards that you use it so infrequently as a quick effect that you almost forget that it's a quick. I've definitely made
and
this
it's
mistake
almost like not a quick effect because it's only during your main phase, which is so unusual for trap effects in Grave.
If it was during either player's turn, I think we'd be much more
attuned to it. Yeah,
but quick effects during your own turn don't come up as much as you would imagine. So when it comes to cards like Called by the Grave, you almost don't know you can dodge an effect like that with a card like Jianwu. I mean, definitely playing against Sky Striker, it's also relevant against cards like Shark Cannon. If they go for your Shen Shen, you can just reborn it as Chainlink 2, and that's just really strong. Incentivizes the striker player to do it during their own turn, which is a lot worse.
Yes. Okay, so what are we thinking? I think Virtual World is aimed to go first.
Definitely Xavier's going to go first. Going to try and stick a Shen Shen, which is basically an FTK versus Stellarman Great.
Yes.
They need their graveyard to play. Presumably backed up by some kind of negation. I don't know if he's on Totem Bird, but definitely a Crystal Wing, some monster negation. And Jake will just be looking to put in cards that deal with the virtual stuff without losing your attack battle phase, because a lot of the time Salaman Great just want to, when going second, just push through, stick that access code and go for game. I mean, we saw Xavier there just scooping it up to the update Jammer, which can attack. Gives
access code OTK.
Gives you the link monster that can attack twice.
Yeah. I think, what are we expecting? Xavier going first? Absolutely.
Virtual World definitely wants to go first.
Yeah. And like you said, Shen Shen is very much the play. Do you think we'd see any like unique tech towards Salaman Great?
I think a lot of Virtual World players will be on Caliga. I think a lot of them will be on There Can Be Only One. Both of those seem pretty good against Salaman Great.
I would agree on both those fronts. There Can Be Only One is truly one of the most impactful.
Definitely Virtual World's kind of like pick your own floodgate. The deck, there's a lot of
a lot
of different ones you can play, and almost none of them hurt. I guess the closest one would be like Rivalry of Warlords, but even then you can just stick to your own archetype and generally have at least one monster that can out it.
Absolutely. Whether your wins being Juju's or the climb to what Earth can get rid of it.
Well, I like got Gozen matched once.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt.
Live reporting. Hello.
I thought I might quickly ask Ruben. Do you know if the rule? Do you know if the rulings have came into place? Like those new rulings have came into place where a card has to remain where it's going to activate to actually activate. So, for example, cards
they are in place.
So location and place of trigger has been implemented, I believe, because obviously Kiz is our tier 2 judge in New Zealand. So as soon as he applies those rulings,
he has been applying.
They are in place for the New Zealand
in relation
region.
to what, Greg? What was the ruling?
Another match here. They've had a quick effect in response to a Raigeki to summon 2 monsters with an effect that activates when it's summoned.
Yeah, so they won't trigger when they're summoned.
Sweet. No,
because the Raigeki will resolve as Chainlink 1, and then they weren't at the place of location of trigger.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I just wasn't sure. I'm not up to date with some of these rulings at the moment. So thank you very much.
So
they've come up a few times with Shureg specifically. Like if you chain Revolt to example like Raigeki, Shureg doesn't trigger on field.
I see. Awesome. Thanks for that, guys.
No worries. And if you have any judging rulings, please feel free to email us at thefacedowns@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to answer some of those questions. We'll obviously we're wrong.
I was going to say get even more things wrong on the podcast, and then you can write in again and say we were wrong. I mean, it's infinite content, which is what we love. All right, Normaling GG, not the strongest open, but a pretty good one. And double GGs. I'm a fan of it. Any Virtual World monster targeting another Virtual World monster will get you to King Long, which, effectively searches any card in your deck. It's extremely good. Generally searches for Lulu, which can then search either the trap or Kowloon to set up the trap during your own turn. Both of which are pretty strong. So.
Very strong.
This hand could be really good. It could also be like the bread and butter, just kind of Zolkin, Shen Shen pass. But I think even that against Salaman Great is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, obviously, Droplets has been something that Jake has featured. We've seen the Nibiru. Whether that's a 1 or a 3 because of the cross-out existence, we're unaware. However, Droplets isn't the best in this scenario. Yes, Salaman Great is essentially 1 card can get to the OTK.
Well, Droplets' double function, I guess, is that it gets cards into your graveyard through a Shen Shen.
Exactly.
From your hand.
Yeah.
But its weakness versus Shen Shen is that you can't send cards from field, which is part of why Droplet is not a massive minus. If both players have 3 Light and Darkness Dragon and 2 Doom Caliber Knight, don't ask this question. I'll kill you. Wait, 3 Light and Darkness Dragon, 2 Doom Caliber Knights. The turn player activates Dark Hole. What happens?
Game 2.
You go to time. I don't know. You go to time because you spend 35 minutes arguing. That's a fun question. I'll screenshot that. I'll answer that next podcast. How about that? Be a little challenge for us.
Yeah. Yeah, let's ask Joe and see if he
Let's ask Joe just raw and see if he can answer it. I mean, he was around back when people played Doom Caliber Knight, right? Jesus. I mean, it's 50-50. Either they're all destroyed or they're not, you know?
Yeah.
Just flip a coin.
Apanoid ratios.
All right. So, yeah, of course, getting Lulu, sending mandatory negate equals mandatory judge call. Agreed.
Yeah.
Sending Kowloon, presumably sending Jianwu to add Kowloon.
This is the great thing.
Yeah,
like the introduction of Zhan Wu just makes this Lulu dump just so much more powerful.
I mean, I would arguably.
Did we not add?
Yeah, we added Kowloon.
Oh, apologies. Sorry, I forget that some people add at the same time as they dump.
So the one negative of the GG opening is that you cannot make Crystal Wing your 4th or 5th summon.
Yes.
So you just kind of have to play around Nib in a different way because you're summoning a GG, then summoning a GG, then summoning a Lulu. You no longer have the window to get to the materials for Zolkin before your 5th summon. And I mean, Chuche plus a Shen with setup pass is pretty good. You do need that extra banished material. I don't know
which
where
is the
that's gonna come
Kowloon
from.
because it gets banished because Shen Shen's on the field.
Yeah. And then we're just going to set one and pass. So that set card could be a Floodgate.
Could be an Imperial Order. Could be something that interacts.
This is playing under Nibiru, and it makes sense.
You saw it. You saw it game 1 off the Small World.
You saw it,
you
so you know it's there.
absolutely fear it.
Most Virtual World lines can get to Crystal Wing before the 5th summon, but I know this line.
It's tough. Yeah.
You need exactly Lili to follow up the GG, or you need to open with like a 2/2 targeted by GG. Those are your 2 ways to make that open viable under Nibiru.
Or without having to use things like Lulu or Lao Lao to get there.
Now, if you had a Lao Lao in hand, you could also just like play into Nibiru, and then if they Nibiru, you just use the Lao Lao to end on the same board.
Okay, so we do see the Small World.
Opening with Small World.
This makes sense to me because, again, you're not really telegraphing what you are missing or what you are getting.
I mean, there's a world
we do have to reveal.
Small World for like a Kaiju here. I don't think you can, but to be fair, this is pretty good against Salad. That's what I was saying. Yeah, Shen alone is strong. Could you imagine your Small World for like a Dogoran here? It'd be pretty sick. Like, come on.
So, have we seen the reveal? I think Jake's having to tank into the line. Because Small World lines are not easy.
The longest slow rolled Imperial Order I've ever seen. I'm just thinking, bro.
Okay, revealing Spinny.
Cool. We're going to banish from deck.
The reveal from deck.
This triggers Chen Ying. That's so stupid. I just keep thinking about that card.
Revealing Ibli.
If we get
adding
debug, I'm
debug,
going to scream. Oh, let's go. Wait, do they have the same defense? 0?
Yes.
Yo, let's go. Adding pack.
Oh, the biggest of brains has just entered the chat. That is wild and out with
Ibli
Nick
has
Cannon.
0/0, right? Yeah.
Ibli is 0/0.
That's kind of hot, though.
Small World is banished off the field. Thank you.
Also, their attack can't match, too, so it can't search another 0 attack, 0 month. That's kind of hot. I knew he was going to Small World for something gas. All right, so this deals with the Shen.
So we're special summoning the Pankratops.
This deals with the Shen, and if they use the Chuche targeting it, then you just basically bait everything. Xavier did summon Shen in an attack, which plays around Pank. And then there's the normal summoned debug. Wow. This is a rough one. So Pankratops here kind of gives you protection against Chuche. Because the Chuche, you can chain Pankratops to it, and because it's a continuous trap, it won't resolve because it must be on the field. This also protects you against, for example, like a There Can Be Only One. If that's what you're going to lose to, you can just hold the Pankratops until they flip that, and then you can chain it to the There Can Be Only One. Pankratops is just an insane card, and Small World being able to search it in this deck is... I mean, Jake's just showing off the swag of this card. I mean, can't really knock him for it. Right, well, Lady Debug is banished. And Jake kind of shakes his head like, oh yeah, of course. All right, Balinks. Greg, why did you just pull up Salamangreat beat Bison?
Good card.
It's a great card. He must be on it. I mean, it's a small world target, right? Baelink's here, searching the field spell on summon, substituting for destruction in grave, which is probably not going to happen.
With a Shenshin on the field.
Shenshin is... I mean, if that set card is anything, you might not die here.
If that set card is called by the grave, Virtual World win this match with this game.
And VDub do, like, they really thrive at, like, recovery. Did he add back off GG? I forget. I don't think he did. He has one card in it.
Pank targeting the Shinshin.
So just, yeah, we're going
Future
straight
target
for
the Baelinks.
And this
That's
is
just
cool.
game. That's a game. Yeah, that makes sense.
He's just conceding. I mean, yeah, Salamangreat need their normal, and
so bad. They need it so bad.
There's an argument. I don't know. It's hard. I was like, is there any way
They are oppressed. Yeah. Oppressed people. That's us in Auckland right now, actually.
Yeah, good window into my life, Greg. Thank you.
Feeling very seen. Very thankful.
All right. Had a twin set.
If he could keep the spinny, it would have been really good to trigger the Gazelle in hand.
He didn't have Gazelle in hand, did he?
Did debug search Gazelle?
Maybe. Oh, yeah, right, of course. And
yeah, that's unfortunate.
Small world.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It means that he needed another Cyburst. He would need another Cyburst for that small world line to
but like,
clear.
how do you beat Chuche Shenshin then? Like,
I mean, you've got Pankratos's Gazelle.
He didn't have Pankratos's. If he kept the spinny.
If he kept spinny, he doesn't get Pankratos's. I think what Dino's saying is that if he had another Cyburst target,
sure, yeah,
it meant that you would have spinny.
It's tough to say.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
That is one of the issues with Small World. It is a -1, and you often lose a resource that would have been relevant, like in this case, the spinny. So, cool. Like searching Pank was hella cool, and if,
that genius loved that. I'm gonna log that one in the brain.
If Xavier had played around Lightning Storm, then the Pankratops could have just battled into the Shenshin and dealt with it that way. All right, so we are going to a game 3 here. Virtual World going second against Salamangreat. They're a little disadvantaged because one of their best going second tools being Kowloon to Kinglong isn't really relevant. But that being said, Salamangreat don't generally put up a lot of interaction. They're just very good at putting up some interaction every turn. And Virtual World can just plow through a full Drytron board on its own, depending on the hand. So we could see a pretty grindy match here. If Xavier opens Twin Twisters, I think that will probably decide the match. But it's hard to say. I mean, Jake's playing a lot of hand traps. Could easily kind of like lure Xavier into a Nibiru as well, if they're not careful. Dino, have you dropped from Bay Dragon? How are you doing?
Yeah, we also have multiple other OTS Store Championships occurring at this moment in time across the country.
There was going to be one tomorrow that was remote duel that I was going to play, but now it is in person.
Which is amazing. Obviously upsetting for us, but very glad to see the Hamilton region being able to enjoy organized play again in person.
We should get back there soon, so I'm not like particularly upset about it. I'm just looking at the Salamangreat deck list now to see if there's anything else spicy in the side deck.
All right, Dino says he beat Flunder just now.
There is some spice in the side deck. I don't know if it's Small World relevant.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong, doll. Yeah.
Maybe we'll wait to see if we can see that on stream first.
Yeah, again, we're not leaking deck lists. No leaking.
No leaking. And also, like, maybe it'll be hot if it happens live. If Jake makes it into top 4.
No, we'll be hot if it happens live. Yeah.
I'm gonna be hot regardless. So.
Okay, so game 3, I think Xavier is incentivized to put in the back row removal, and I think Jake is probably just going to prioritize. I mean, I assume there's probably Nibiru's present in the Xavier list, just because it's such a good side deck card right now. We've obviously, maybe unbeknownst to Xavier, but we have seen Jake on the cross-out designators, which is really impactful. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how this goes. I think Jake is incentivized to put in more go first hatred, so something like a floodgate or something that can be interactive. And Xavier is definitely incentivized to put in the back row removal to deal with the problematic.
I would say Xavier's list is very synchro heavy. He's playing a lot of cards that I've personally not been playing for a while, like a Crocodragon, like.
All right, we see the Foxy. Okay, Cosmic, Spinny, Sign It. Spinny's a pretty good one here. You are guaranteed 2 materials.
That generally gets you off to the races, but you do want to find that Gazelle. If he's good, he's opened it, so we'll see that now. Hell yeah. We
one
just drew
Balance,
the
two
one
Gazelle.
off, baby.
Yeah, just draw Gazelle.
Just draw the one off. Who needs Small World? This is where you want to be for Jake. This opens up the opportunity of like double trap more likely because you don't have to like use a lot of materials to get to your Gazelle, like silent mining.
Darling, the rage is correct, I think, just
Rage is way
because
better.
wanting to deal with the interactions.
I mean, if it's Twin Twister, it's Twin Twister, right?
If it's twin, it's twin.
I think Xavier's
Spinny
probably
Summon.
on Harpies as well, which is just a really good card.
Spinny Reborn. Here we go, the Stalio. This will definitely summon the Jag. Oh, this is just like
It's just
bread and butter
goodness. We just don't innovate on Salamangreat anymore. This is the same.
Listen, Gal, ain't broke, don't fix. That's the vibe.
Well, there's not really anything new to play with, right? They didn't get any new monsters except for the one that can't even summon Mirage Stalio, the Xyz support card for the one we don't have.
The Roid monster?
The Zebroid X, yeah. That's like the only support card they've gotten. I guess Burning Draw in Etco.
That's better in Infernoid.
It's better in nothing, but yes. All right, Sunlight Wolf, yada yada, get back to Gazelle, and yeah, you know, you're dead next turn unless you stop me, so Jake just putting the pressure on the board, getting back the rage, ignition effect, don't have to worry about it, not a trigger. And then we're going to set probably 2 cards, I imagine, if he's good. All right, going into Lingaribo to play around evenly matched, I bet. Yeah, baby.
I respect it. I quite liked that tech as a Salamangreat player, especially when evenly was more prevalent.
It makes sense. You've got the Mirage Stalio and the Wolf on field. You really don't need that Jaguar to stick around. And evenly matched is a card, so...
Also, you love your Jaguar and Grave. It just shuffles back to resummon.
You can check Xavier's list to see if they're on evenly, actually.
Let's not give it away.
People are playing. They're not watching the stream.
Okay. I mean,
it does not appear to be.
Okay. But I mean, it's a safe hedge. That's the thing. Like,
well, there's no downside, right?
No.
There's no reason. It even...
Sitting 1.
Yeah.
Okay, no end step, no error. Okay.
Only loses to a Mech Knight here.
Yeah, Blue Sky Search 2, thank you.
Blue Sky would be pretty hot.
Wolf add back.
All right, one set here is not great. And you can actually...
okay, King Long. Yeah.
One set is not amazing. Just a Rage will lose to a good hand.
Okay, we're starting with a Lao, so hand's probably not too hot.
He may be baiting the Rage. He might have like a better follow-up. But Lao target King Long means A, that you don't have a normal summon, and B, that it's rough. Like,
it's like you either put the Nyan Nyan engraved to guarantee you have something back. So if you do normal of 3, you get the Reborn.
This is the thing. He might be playing around Rage by using this to send a Nyan now, so that you can normal a Virtual World, and then, I mean, it's
get
rough.
the Nyan trigger. I think that's probably the wisest play, because it means that you also threaten out...
The other play is Zhanwu, because Zhanwu puts a Vita back on your field through a Rage. I could see that being relevant. He's definitely thinking about it.
Yeah, this is a tough one, because the Rage is really impactful.
Yeah. If you had a 3 in your hand, you definitely send the Nyan here, if you're just trying to play around the Rage existing. You could also normal a 3 here and just go for like Vermilion, which is interesting. Just to like target the Rage and say, yep, get it over with.
I think we do have the normal 3. Oh, that hand is not good.
I'm seeing a lot of back row.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in Virtual World, you have incredibly powerful spell traps that need monsters to be good. We're going to just bait out something here. Target the Lingaribo? Yeah. I sort of foresaw this as a play. I don't know what he's trying to do. Maybe bait out the Rage with King Long. It seems like his hand is not very good.
It looks like 4 back row. Oh, no, that's another Lao.
Ooh. And see, this is where you could have like... Oh, man.
Oh, and the Ash.
That's not relevant, actually, in this instance.
Yeah, because realistically, you're what? You're playing Zhanwu control.
Yep. Xavier's just hoping his opponent's going to misplay here, and it doesn't look like Jake is giving him the opportunity.
No.
Early Lao is fine if you have more V-Dub monsters. It doesn't seem like he does. Yeah, and that's the set Chuche, and that's just more than enough for this to be the end of the game. I mean, Jake still has the Rage, so he can just Rage here at end step and get rid of everything that Xavier has. It seems pretty good. Play around, I guess, Mirror Force. I don't know.
I think you're very heavily incentivized here at end step to just Rage target the Link 2 and get rid of the monster in the back row.
And you have Lingaribo, so you don't even really fear trap cards. Don't pull up Mirror Force, Craig. It would be drowning Mirror Force, obviously. Got to play around drowning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can we get some drownings in chat?
Yeah. Glub glub.
I mean, this is just like, Jake's just styling here because he knows he's got this closed up. There's nothing that Xavier could have set that even beats Lingeribo Pass. Another small world, sure. Even showing he had
and the
Nibiru whole
Nibdo.
time. Unfortunate for Xavier, a hand with like 2 more V-dub names would have just cleaned up.
Absolutely.
But sometimes you just draw the spell traps and your opponent has something. I mean, they didn't even really interrupt Xavier there. He just didn't have anything. Yeah, unfortunate. Bricking is a part of the game, and in game 3 it hurts even more because you just feel the victory, clutched from your grasp, I guess. Maybe Xavier's just praying to the gods that Nibiru will appear in his hand at this moment. What could Jake be searching here? He really does just have game on board with the Spinny Engrave and everything kind of set up. So
yeah.
Searching
Just
a flame buffalo.
Oh, a buffalo value.
I guess more opportunities to draw into crossout, potentially, if he wants to overextend into a Nibiru, but I really don't think you have to. I mean, even on board right now, you have like 4,500 damage, so there's not really a need to play a lot more.
Yeah, it's relink summon it's relink to summon the Gazelle to send, and then you can just normal the buffalo to link it away, and so that you get the draws.
Well, that's what, 1 summon, 2nd summon Gazelle, 3rd summon Buffalo, make access code, kill?
4th summon, update jammer, discard, draw 2. Okay, no, we're just
just to play around Nibiru, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to play into a Nibiru if Xavier, for example, top decked it. All right, adding back Ash, Rage. I mean, kind of doing what Salamangreat players should do, which is insulate yourself versus anything.
Yes.
Might as well go for those value, even though you think you have game. Your opponent might have something ridiculous that they can use to beat you. All right, Heat Leo just going to spin that back row and trigger Gazelle here. Goes to the deck, didn't even reveal it. Maybe it was Waking the Dragon. You got to be careful. I don't think Salad has many good outs to an Ultimate Falcon besides access code. All right. So all the Salamangreat monsters effectively do similar things. They either summon back from grave, bounce back a material from grave to hand, or get you value when it's summoned. This is why the deck was just so dominant for like the better part of 2 years, is that it may not do anything better than most decks, but almost every single one of its cards is high quality. You get to run, like 20 really good monsters in your deck, and then a bunch of utility spell traps and hand traps. So has generally just proven itself to be an effective tool to just take out any deck, right? Like, I can't think of a deck Salamangreat can't beat. They definitely had some issues against like pure Zodiac when that was going around, but
yeah, the destruction on the normal is the most impactful.
Like pure Zodiac either making a Trident or just managing to stick a Zeus. Not going for game here. I guess playing conservatively around Nibiru if they can. Just hoping Xavier can't play through the Rage. I guess Gazelle would have reset, would have sent maybe Raw in this instance as well.
I mean, he's already reincarnation summoned.
True. I guess just set Rage pass. I'm honestly surprised that and Jake, of course, demonstrating you can attack yourself in Yu-Gi-Oh here.
Yeah. What's this one? What do you think of this one?
Looks like Xavier's gonna win in time here. Can you activate Rescue Cat when it's fog bladed? You can attempt to activate it. Fogblade doesn't say you can't activate its effects.
Yeah, but it's off the field, so Fogblade's effect is no longer occurring.
Yeah.
So it resolves?
I imagine so. Chat, am I wrong? Fogblade isn't Mystic Mine. You can still do stuff. Does he not run access code and update jammer? He does. I think he was just playing around Nibiru. Also, it's a minute left in time. It fully resolves under Fogblade. That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to rage the target here. Be really aggressive. Summoning Gazelle on resolution. Imperm? Sure. that seems extremely irrelevant. Okay, using the King Long to search here. Yeah, we're just going to scoop it up.
Yeah.
We don't have anything, I imagine.
No, ma'am. Second imperm. Yeah, the hand was not gooch.
I mean, if that King Long resolves, you can get something to target the Kowloon.
That was the opening.
That is a rough opening. I mean, against another deck that relies more on monster effects, this hand is arguably okay, but not against a back row deck. Saddle on all life points? No, that's Xavier took the hit there.
It's swap around. It's absolutely fine.
We can only make nothing the Starlight so many times, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was really interesting because obviously it's time of the round. I would like for them to keep going. And we have spoken to Jake already. I think obviously it's unfortunate for Xavier.
That game was, I think, decided without time, though. I think Salad were just very in control.
Very interesting one here.
Hello.
All right. Hello. Hi. How are you two doing?
Doing good. Doing all right.
It was our first 3-game match on stream of the day. It's actually a really good one. Sad to see Xavier, your hand that game 3 was just too many double ups.
Not great.
Not the one, unfortunately.
If that Laula was like another V-dub monster, you would have been in a much better position versus that Rage, I imagine.
Yeah, that happens with Virtual World a lot, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But Jake, congratulations, and obviously came to fruition your use of Small World.
Oh my god, it was so cool.
I think really amazed not only us, but those watching, searching Pancratops.
Zero defense, baby. That was sick.
I only figured that out yesterday, so I'm so glad to be able to pull it off, It was unfortunate. I just didn't have a way to bait that Chuche, but I mean, it's just resolving that Small World in a way that, you know, made me smile was all I needed to do today. So
exactly, it gave us life, and I mean, you ended up taking the match. You just simply drew Gazelle. What can I say?
Yeah. Just draw Gazelle. But I will say, obviously, kudos to Xavier. The impact of Shen Shen really was determinative of that game too. Obviously, you're aware of how important Salamangrate Field to Grave is. So that was really impressive.
And I think our next round this is our first game that also pseudo went to time. Although I think, given the hand, that was probably leaning in Salamangrate's favor, so it wasn't like the most scummy of time wins. Definitely seen worse.
We have definitely seen worse. Yeah, so we'll let you two go, but thank you very much, and good luck for your final round, and hopefully we see you in top 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to be round 4.
Exciting.
Very exciting. That was so unique.
Yeah.
There we go, the Small World application.
And that was just some good Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, these are 2 interesting and fun decks that don't just win on turn 1. So pretty fun to see it happen. I mean, definitely we saw people, lose to the turn 1 setup, but it wasn't like 12 negates, just scoop your hand up, bro.
Exactly.
We got to see some interesting interplay between people's hands. Even interactions like the Janwu there may have...
could have been determinative, yeah.
Could have been game determinative.
So tough. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to seeing our final round of Swiss. And I think that, the Small World application really was the standout of that one. That was...
It's kind of like Prosperity in that it interacts really interestingly with the sideboard. Not in every deck, but certainly there are ways you can kind of maybe sub-optimize your deck, like make it slightly worse, but give yourself access to like a decent Small World target. I mean, just thinking, I thought like, Small Worlding for a Dogoran's kind of sick as well. And certainly using it to search Pancratops, it mattered. I mean, it didn't win in the game, but it could have. And I think when you assess a card, you don't just assess it based on one result. You look at its potential. And I think that was pretty cool. All right, seeing Tenyi again. I guess it's a 13-person tournament. Can't expect a ton of variety.
I mean, it's tough. I think that these are potentially going forward. Like these are maybe the ones decks, on the end. Yeah.
So Matthew presumably doing pretty well with Tenyi, and Brennan on Madolche. Madolche,
really unique. Sorry to everyone because Madolche Salon was not reprinted in the tins, so I have fun trying to build that. However, the Madolche continued to just kind of get tools. That's kind of where I think the deck is.
Just revealing dimensional barrier there.
Yeah, gorgeous. Love that. No XE summons for you.
That's just like a power move, right? Like you just reveal it pre-game 1. Like, I've got this for you. Don't worry. All right.
So this is interesting because Madolche can very much go first or second, as can Tenyi.
Madolche is like the best 15th best deck of the format. Like, it's really, really good at what it does, and obviously hasn't had like a massive
that's both 9s.
Meta representation. I think that's a 4 actually.
Oh, no, there's a 4.
Hasn't had a massive meta representation, but every time you play against it, you're like, this deck does a lot of things. I guess they're a little bit limited. You know, if their starters get interrupted, they don't have a ton of native extenders. Like, you know, Hootcake needs to banish to get off the special from deck. You know, you can't set up that banished zone. It can be rough. Obviously, if you're normal and you don't have like the native, what is it, Pudding Cess or Petting Cessor, the free special?
Petting Cessor.
Yeah, then that can also be rough. We'll see what happens. All right, looks like they have started time in the round and are just determining first or second here. God, this makes me miss. I really want to go to an event. Like, I so miss just this process of like sitting down, you know, waiting for time, drawing that hand, bricking, going, piss, I've bricked. Like, it's all part of the experience. You know, you don't quite get that same social kind of collegial interaction when you play online. You know, you brick, you just kind of silently have to wallow in your own sadness. Right, going for the Anjali Tribute here, which just specs from deck, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So
this will go for
which then
Hootcake.
Banishes the Anjali to spec another Madolche from deck.
So this will target the Anjali.
Yep.
So you can, because the whole thing is you can bell Hootcakes. So this will summon Messenger Lato. Messenger Lato will search probably Chateau or Salon.
Depending on what they don't have. Generally, you want to search Chateau because it's your interruption, but if you need Salon, I guess. I mean, both are good. Salon can reset or set Chateau from deck, if I'm correct. All right, so we are getting Salon here. So Salon is sort of a searchable archetypal double summon. Lets you additionally normal a Madolche. And then I think on resolution of a Madolche spell trap, you can set another one.
Yes.
It's very, very, very strong. And there's a reason it's $40. Like, this deck perpetually needs a $40 card in it. It was Hootcake for a while.
Oh, it was Anjali. Then it was Hootcake.
I think a couple of the extra deck monsters were like $100 at some point. It's very odd. This deck, like I said, is sort of, you know, it's like the 15th best deck, but it's also really, really good, and has kind of always been a fan favorite, especially in New Zealand. All right, and generally the plan is to end on Glass Souffle, which can basically make a monster unaffected, can't be destroyed or battled over. And then searching Chateau, which is, you know, target a card on the field and negate it. Searching Madolche Ticket. Ticket a continuous spell when a Madolche card is removed from your side of the field.
It's shuffled back. It adds.
Oh yeah, that's right. You get to add cards when things are shuffled back.
This is also a wee bit costly. This is the Cosmo Blazer common that just hasn't been reprinted.
Is it really?
Yes, I kid you not.
So we just drew the chat. Whoa.
Okay, so Souffle. Okay, interesting. So we're not playing into Nibiru, because obviously you have Souffle setups. You have the Salon. I would comfortably assume.
Teacher is really good here. Shuffles 2 from graves into the deck.
Absolutely.
That's also true. Yeah, it literally just says like if a Madolche card is sent to grave by anything anywhere, you get to just banish 2 from grave, which hits, you know, Tenyi, for example. It banishes their resources from the graveyard. It hits Virtual World. It hits every deck. Let's be real. All right, we're going to start with Pot of Desires. Questionable choice. I mean, like, do you negate this? It is a draw 2, which gives him more gas.
It's a neg 11. Of course, you let it resolve.
Definitely drawing 2 cards gives him more gas to play through whatever Brennan has, but I think Brennan's in the back seat here. I think he's playing the control right now. You can kind of be a bit more conservative. You just have so many. I mean, 3 set cards is so many resources to interact with. Matthew definitely just looking to be kind of on the beat down here, just like pushing through it, maybe managing to play through, but I can't imagine how he's getting through this.
Okay, so we're discarding Summit to summon
Long One.
Long One?
Has to be.
Oh, anything on resolution, sorry.
So you can't Chateau this because Long One's not on the field. But you can, I don't know, Solemn Strike it.
You can strike it. It is an effect to summon.
Oh, is it Promenade the negate?
Promenade is target a card on the field.
I've been saying it's Chateau, but...
Chateau is the field spell that shuffles everything back.
Yeah. Promenade is the negate. Apologies.
Yeah.
It's basically Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss.
Nice.
Gravedigger's Trap Hole.
Oh, is that... Oh, Gravediggers.
Negate a monster effect in the hand or grave.
Or banished, isn't it?
Or banished, and your opponent takes 2,000 damage.
Well, this is a pretty anti-Tenyu because they are all effects to summon.
I imagine Virtual World as well. This is teched in for.
Yeah, I mean, this is people to a greater extent played things like Debunk.
I just find it so funny they printed like reverse Solemn Warning, like your opponent takes 2,000. Who thought that was okay? Really?
It's a trap hole card, so they thought it was okay for trap tricks.
Yes, but this card is generically very strong. I imagine also...
we're going to normal the Tire. This is potentially going to get the Promenade.
Well, I'm wondering if Brennan is playing Rafflesia, seeing that. Because Madolche can just make rank 4s. I mean, they do sometimes lock themselves, but not easily. I don't think very often.
It's only the... Is it the Petting Cessor that locks you?
Yeah. So, like, maybe he's just playing it with Rafflesia as well. I could see it. It's a good out to Nibiru, for example. All right, Taya here.
Banishing the Summit. So we do get the token.
I mean, you could have Glass Souffled on resolution of summon, but that might be a little presumptive. We're going for Vessel. Okay, this is kind of a must negate here. I mean, the Vashuda is going to be really annoying if they add it. So I would probably be looking to negate this. The Vashuda can just bounce one of the back row and suddenly you're just only playing through one set card. It's interesting.
So I can confirm is on the...
Is on Rafflesia? I mean, that makes sense. Which means he drew the Gravedigger's Trap Hole, which, you know, arguably...
Honestly, in this matchup, great.
Well, yeah, it's also arguably, like, why he didn't play into Nibiru.
Yeah.
He probably does have a line that effectively can play through Nibiru, or at least negate it. Like, adding Ashina, sending... Mare. So, definitely has something. I mean, it could be another summit. You know, discarding a summit is questionable. Still has the long one hand as well. All right, going straight
the long one's useless. So.
Maybe a Baxia, going for a Chi Xiao.
Okay.
Chi Xiao can probably search a follow-up Reborn spell for the Mare, which is quite nice. Again, like, is this a negate target? It's hard to say. You have Glass Soufflé, which you can use to stop him from reborning, which is nice.
Yes. Because also, I believe, again, Glass Soufflé does it target? I'm not aware. Live research, we can just open up your own.
Yeah.
Madolche is, one of those decks that just has, it's really fun, it's interesting, its interactions are just so unique.
Yeah, and they're really strong. Like, nothing in it misses, right? The trap is extremely good.
Yeah, and it says, you can shuffle up to 2 cards from the graveyards into the decks.
That's incredible interaction, and their going second toolkit having just the same thing but for on field.
Yeah, and then here's the Promenade, which targets a Madolche engrave to add it back to hand and negate the effect.
Which then will trigger Salon, I believe?
Yes,
the chain links might be a little bit weird here.
Yeah.
He should be going for Salon to set another.
Oh, no, if another Madolche card you control in your grave is added to your hand or shuffled, set a Madolche spell trap.
So it should trigger the Salon here, which gets him another...
Yeah.
Follow-up. This is rough because he's...
It's unfortunate discarding the Summit because the Mare... I think he's waiting for a response to see what the Soufflé will shuffle.
Well, you can chain the Chi Xiao here, right? Because it was
as long as you didn't use the effect to search.
Which it sounds like he declared the effect to search, which was what Promenade was.
I think he was using it to negate the Soufflé to shuffle.
Are they reading to see if this misses timing or something?
Salon will not miss timing. It's an if. Ticket is a when.
Yeah, he added from grave to hand.
But that's 3. So Ticket will miss timing because Promenade is activating in response. So unfortunately...
But that's not a big deal because Salon is the one you want to resolve.
Well, it depends because
you have to chain it to
on resolution... You can, if this is in response to sisters or to the teacher's effect to shuffle, then if this is on resolution, the teacher will shuffle 2, and then in a new chain of one of those cards as a Madolche, you get the ticket.
Yeah. Also, Salon is an F, so it will trigger. Anyway.
Salon is an if, it'll never miss.
It looks like we're just having a judge
Just
ruling
a clarification on ifs and wins. Wins are my favorite type of card in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
When you can is my even better.
Mandatory wins go hard. I love a
mandatory wins are very good. As we said, 3 lad, 2 doom cow. Yeah.
Extremely funny that they don't miss timing. It's just so stupid.
Hey, Tim. Real quick,
quick
question for the most experienced judge here.
Okay, how can I help?
So I'm just I can't quite remember because like I say I haven't been. It's been a while since I've been paying attention to Yu-Gi-Oh. Is it Salon that's a win? Ticket. Ticket's a win, but it's a mandatory win. So that activating at chain link 4 is that going to
can't miss timing. Well, they still have to activate in response, but they don't care about what section of the chain link.
Yes, as long as the condition was fulfilled and it's a mandatory effect. Mandatories have to be chain link 1, I believe.
No, they don't.
Mandatory wins.
Mandatory wins if you have 2 of them can be chain blocked.
Yes,
so
but if they're not, mandatory wins can only be blocked by mandatory wins.
Yes, because they're on the same speed as each other.
So ticket must be chain link 1.
But it will trigger.
It will trigger.
So it's just ticket chain link 1, and then if
everything else will resolve.
Salon chain link 2.
Salon will chain link 2. Cool. Alrighty. Thank you, my friends.
Which we can check. But
good to have you.
It is mandatory. Win, add.
Then it will be chain link 1. Yeah.
Yes.
In the new chain.
What was that, sorry?
So if I think we saw some like promenade effects to bounce back. Is that correct? So has that all previously resolved?
Yeah, it's a new chain. It's chain link 1 ticket, chain link 2 Salon.
Chain link 1 ticket, chain link 2 Salon. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
I learned this from playing Mask Change in Heroes because Absolute Zero and Acid are both mandatory wins.
Yes, which again is something that we don't see a lot of anymore. I mean, to be honest, like
they generally reserved mandatory wins for like state influenced actions, like when this card is destroyed by battle, do this.
Something, yeah.
Because they wanted to word it in a way that like sounded more sensical, like, oh, this happens when this happens.
Yes.
The term if was introduced to kind of bypass what they found was a really obtrusive ruling.
Well, this is the scenario of wording where it was when you can.
Yeah, which was an obtrusive wording because it initially didn't matter so much, but with the introduction of things like synchro monsters, it was determined that the summon is the last thing to happen, making a lot of things just natively not work.
Yes.
And it has led to some headaches of archetypes like Yang Zing. We basically have to print cards specifically to interact nicely with.
And I think this was a scenario. It was a thing like Goblin Zombie is a when you can. That was, I think, a big part of like
a big thing. Yeah.
A big part of like that kind of scenario.
Search, yeah.
So, wins and ifs are a really interesting term. I mean, apparently, not only is this a children's card game, but you need a degree in linguistics to understand the wording.
The key thing is if a thing says when you can, it has to be in response to something that occurred as chain link 1.
Yes.
So, for example, if a card says, when your monster is destroyed by card effect, do X. The thing that destroyed your card has to resolve as chain link 1. So, for example, Raigeki Break, target your monster, it's destroyed. New chain, my when effect triggers, and I search. You go something, then chain link 2 Raigeki Break. Then the thing will not trigger because Raigeki Break happens, then something else happens, and then the card goes, what just happened? Oh, something else.
Not me being destroyed,
being destroyed, etc. That's like the easiest way to think of it. Mandatory wins are just ifs with extra crap loaded onto them.
Well, mandatory wins are just no cans, no can do.
But they can still trigger in response to any segment of a chain link. It's because they have to trigger.
It has to occur.
You literally can't not do it. Which is very funny.
When the timing is missed. Yeah, if you want to, timing is a fun interaction.
And Madolche is an old enough deck to have some wins.
Again, this is like Return of the Duelist Cosmo Blazer. These are like 2015, 16. Like these are... no, earlier than that.
They had the generosity to make them mandatory, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then the new cards are all ifs. So it's like, you are able to work with them. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think the Graveyard interaction off of the Glass Souffle is kind of most deterministic. Also, I mean, Gravedigger's Trap Hole is hilarious.
I just think Matthew doesn't have the gas to play through this, and as you can see, he's just set 2. This is where Madolche just gets to go, lol, make my Xyz monster, your whole board just disappears.
Yep, Tiara Misu, shuffle.
The Chi Zhao's live can be 1 negate.
Unfortunately, we did see another set promenade off the salon.
It's
so
not
it means
gonna
that
be-
Chi Zhao is not really in the position to negate.
This is where Promenade is cracked. Is Promenade can negate spell traps. It can negate literally anything.
20. Yeah, I think it's like mid to end XYZ's era for Madolches.
They're like Judgment of the Light, stuff like that.
It's Return of the Duelist, Abyss Rising. Like,
Yeah. They were kind of spread out. There's a lot of different.
there's a lot of
Madolches.
Madolche is an archetype that has spanned Yu-Gi-Oh's history.
Okay. 25 minutes left. We are still in game one, but Madolche are looking pretty secure in this one.
I mean, a lot of interaction. I really don't blame them.
All right.
So we're going to see the Sistart.
Sistart is like battle protection and has again a replacement effect. If it is destroyed, can just like
Shuffle back, I believe.
Add back or shuffle back one, which will now be add back to hand thanks to Chateau, which has hit the field. Chateau just reads if a card would be shuffled into the deck. You can just get it instead.
And it's while it points to a Madolche monster, Madolche spell traps can't be destroyed by card effects or cannot be targeted by card effects.
I thought Chateau shuffled all your monsters into the deck when it was activated.
It was set, and I don't believe there were any monsters in grave because he added back off the salon, the promenade.
He just detached the messenger lato. Sure. It's like Exodius from Madolches.
This is honestly, this is a deck I would love to build. I'm obsessed with food.
Yeah. It comes in like really nice rarities too. Yeah, this is fine. Like you can chain the Chi Zhao here, but realistically you're just negating like Sistart. Not insane here.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's chaining it, right? Oh no, he's already banished the I see what happened. Glass Souffle targeted the cards to banish them, and I think he chained Chi Zhao just to
Glass Souffle does not target to shuffle back.
He activated Glass Souffle,
Yes.
and he's like, oh, I might as well use the Chi Zhao, and he's just going to go, yeah, nah, negate. Not happening. Move along. Okay, reading cards.
We do like reading. Again, English major.
We've had to read a lot of cards today.
So I think personally Madolche's in the commanding position here. Their resource loop is definitely live. Obviously Promenade being to add back is really powerful. Sistart protecting all the Madolche spell traps is really strong as well.
Yeah. There's this vibe in Yu-Gi-Oh! When like a deck starts to do its thing and it stops paying attention to your deck, you know you've lost. Right?
Yes.
We saw it with Salamangreat, like adding back the rage and adding back the card. Like once they just start focusing on their own resources and not even paying attention to you, you've lost the game.
Absolutely. It's just such a powerful resource generation, and that's where decks like Salamangreat, like Madolche thrive.
Right, we're chaining, chaining Blackout to pop 2 cards, targeting his own Chi Zhao.
You cannot target the Madolche spell traps with effects while Sistart is pointing to a Madolche monster.
You can target the set card.
You can target the set card also.
And the monsters.
You
don't really want to.
Sistart, I believe, is just shuffle back.
I don't think you want to target the monsters here. All right, we're going to pop.
Yeah, it just shuffles a Madolche monster from grave back instead.
We're just going to like, lose the game. Yeah, we're just going to target both the Madolches. That is did he negate it?
Oh, did he Chi Zhao?
Is that chain resolve backwards?
Was it Chi Zhao to negate the Sistart?
Chain Promenade target Chi Zhao, chain Blackout. Blackout doesn't tribute as cost, so it would still be like...
Well, also it means that Sistart would have the destruction effect still remaining.
Live, yeah. This is a confusing, but I think he just protects here, right? Also, hasn't Glass Souffle resolved?
No. Oh, did it detach?
I'm not going to blame Matthew here. Like, you don't play against Madolche all the time.
No. Not unless you go against like people like David, or I think John has the deck still. The deck's really fun. It is really unique in its approach to playing. Yeah.
You do have to read these cards because
you do.
They don't interact nicely with interaction. Like you think, oh, I'll ash this, and then they just go, that was the wrong card, and you're like, what? You know, wasn't that your normal summon? They go, yeah, I've got tons of free stuff that I've even got a double summon.
I have a very strong feeling we're going to get another call in from Greg here.
Oh, God.
And I don't blame him.
Someone tell me the chain links because we can't hear them declare their effects. Oh, man. This seems like a chain link 5 situation. I also need to pee, so Ruben, this is on you.
All right. Judge Ruben, can't coach, no coaching. So I've been doing judge calls for 2 remote locations today, Palmerston North and Dunedin. Judging's quite fun. If you want to get into it, my biggest recommendation is just kind of being around other players. I think keeping up with the meta is really important as well if you enjoy learning how to judge and understanding rulings and interactions. Like I said, unfortunately, OCG rulings don't always carry over, which is like one of the biggest downsides of the game. You think of a game like Magic the Gathering that has just a legitimate rulebook printed out, and while Japan does have a written rulebook, it was never translated into the TCG. So a lot of our rulings that we dictate are not only dictated by the translation of the rulings and the cards, but also the regions. Very notably, we had scenarios in which I think it was during before we had the April 2020 revisions, effects that would, or monsters that had a once per turn summon them. And if the summon was negated, you couldn't reattempt to summon them. In the European Union, it was ruled that if you, for example, were to say special summon a Dingirsu of the Orcus Evening Star, and the summon was solemn striked, you could no longer attempt to summon another one, even though the summon was not successful. Whereas in the US, that ruling did not apply. If the summon was solemn striked, you were able to attempt to re-summon or attempt to summon another Dingirsu, because in the US it was ruled that the summon had not been successful, therefore you were able to re-attempt to summon the Dingirsu. So yeah, if you're interested in judging, obviously events like this are really strong. There are some really incredible resources available online, and I think that it's super impactful to just kind of learn and understand in reading cards, learning about the interactions between particular meta threats, as well as the current techs and updates. Sets like Maximum Gold and OTS can quite often bring you updated texts of cards, so things can be kind of modified given problem-solving card text, making it a bit more easier for you to understand. Okay, so it looks like we got over that kerfuffle.
We just got it sorted.
To be able to solve that one. So I think here we're seeing really strong Madolche resource looping. Obviously, even though his monsters had left, he's still able to add back from grave to hand, which in turn triggers the Ticket and Salon. So we're seeing the Mageline and the Hootcake being summoned here, or being added bit from deck to hand. We see the normal summoning of Hootcake. This is super powerful because I believe he still has his Madolches in grave, so he's able to target something like the Glass Souffle or Sistart to then banish and add back, and special summon another one from deck. Potentially something like an Angeli or a
snacks,
or a Messenger Lato. Ooh, I'll absolutely take a lovely tofu skewer. Thank you very
snacks,
much.
Snack gang. Go Madolche. Damn, this deck making me hungry.
A lot of food. So we see the Petting Cessor. Petting Cessor to summon out the Angeli. I believe Angeli probably just goes for another 3 Hootcakes is probably a bit excessive. The Gelato to search if needed. Do you know, fun fact, Gelato has to have a beast Madolche to activate and resolve its effect.
Madolche also have a card that can just search any field spell in the game, including Mystic Man. Don't know why you would, but you can.
We see the gorgeous Tiramisu. And so we're going to target we'll shuffle up to 2 Madolche cards back, and then shuffle the same amount for drink bottle refill. Thank you.
Come on, snack.
Yeah. And we see the concession. Oh no, just shuffling. Mageline, additional normal off the Salon. And that's game. Yeah, because of the Chateau boost. I forget that Chateau also adds 500 attack and defense. Okay. The 25-minute game one. Thank you very much to all the work that Greg did there, as well as us being able to help. So game two. This is a tough one. I really think Ten, you want to go first.
This is an interesting scenario. Going into a tournament, this is not talked about enough. If you don't know what other people's cards do, it can be a huge disadvantage because you're likely to lose game one learning what their cards do. But if you spend a long time reading and resolving their effects, losing that game one can be devastating. I mean, how is Matthew going to win 2 games in 14 minutes? It seems very difficult. He can burn for time with long one, but he has to like clutch this game out and then have enough time plus open a combo that can get to burn damage.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the approach is going to be. I think that Tin, you definitely want to go first. I think Tin, you want to set up something. If you do get the long one burn, even with 14 minutes remaining, you are actively advancing the game state in that action. So I think it's definitely of an advantage. What are you siding here? I feel like Tenyi, definitely some sort of floodgate, definitely some sort of interruption. And I think Madolche, something like Graveyard Hate, like maybe a Dimension Shifter, because Madolche really common on Dimension Shifter because they don't need their grave.
I think a Blackout deals with most of what Madolche has. When they just summon their 2 monsters that they'd use to make Glass Souffle or anything else, you just pop them. Seems pretty good.
I agree. This will be interesting. All right, game 2. Here we go.
Glad I had a big breakfast.
Me too. Another reason why South Island meta is weird, everyone plays just whatever, so you kind of just have to know every deck.
That's
yes.
every tournament, though. That's the thing. Not everyone's going to be on, the best deck. You're going to have to play against decks that I think are, like Magdolce is, a good deck that you will lose to. Not everyone's playing Sword Soul and Fluunderies and all these decks that are known quantities.
Okay, we do see the Vessel. So powerful Mapura Monk Vessel.
Yeah, I've definitely played against enough Madolche in the North Island to say that's not just a South Island thing.
I mean, it can just be a lot of people just bring their pet decks. I mean, I don't blame them. If you're confident with a deck going into an event, that's a really good advantage. Okay, so we're dumping Tyar. I'd assume probably adding, Arshana. Yep. Okay. This is really interesting. 12 and a half minutes remaining. I see Blackout. I see a Nahata.
I mean, Blackout's good.
Blackout's really strong in this matchup. Absolutely. We obviously haven't seen any Graveyard Hate because obviously Shifter hasn't been placed. I think that was a long one. Yeah. This is a very strong opening.
Yeah, you get to use a Shuna now. Exactly what you want to be doing.
Make Baron?
You can even a Shuna into a 4 here.
You'll be lucky to verse more than one tiered deck. Yes,
that's true.
Absolutely.
It is more common in the South Island.
Then that's honestly really good. I feel like it's important to understand that, not everyone is going to be on tier 1 deck with every single expensive meta
fair,
card.
Though, we've seen a lot of tiered decks today. Sure, there's some silly stuff, but I don't even think Magic-y is not tiered.
No, agree.
I think Magic-y is tiered. It may not be tier 1, but you saw what it did, right? It's good as hell. All right, we're just hard making Pen Ying Shaman. I mean, getting rid of the token.
Yep, and then we're gonna Shaman to summon back the Tyar, and then Tyar effect. I think this will get you your Draco Berserker.
Yeah. I mean, you can make cheat out here. You can't use the search, but it's still unnegate. But I think Chen Ying plus Blackout is 4 removal spells in
and
one
they're
card.
really good as well. Popping and banishing is really impactful.
You just get to go 3 for 1. What the hell?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Yeah, I think Chi Zhao. Yeah. Chi Zhao Chen Ying, really powerful here.
There's never been a better time to play a pet deck, I think.
Oh, we can't activate the effective. Oh, we're probably tire dumping. Apologies.
Like I said, you can just summon a Chi Zhao here for next turn.
Yeah, for the interruption. I think you're correct, actually. It's never been a better time to play a pet deck.
Like, look at Tenyi. Like, it just got a bunch of boss monsters.
I'm sorry, are we just continuing to forget the effective long one when it's sent to grave for synchro summon? Because there was not 1200 damage dealt.
It's possible. You do have to declare it.
That is crazy. It's like the best part of that card.
Look, it's a new card. And this is probably like one of the first events this card is being played with. It took a long time for people to remember Scam. Like a year for people to remember Scam. And even
tattoos on bodies, and people still forget.
Even then, people forget to this day. So I wouldn't blame people for, like, with new cards just not having it ingrained in them.
Okay. So we've got essentially a banish 2, a pop 2, and a negate. So
and, like, the pop 2, banish 2 is all, like, kind of in one.
Sequential.
It's like a chain that then follows up with an immediate triggered effect. So it's really annoying to interact with. You can't, like...
This is a tough one. I think Madolche, they don't need their normal summon, but they do need a lot of resources on field.
That's for sure.
It'll be super interesting to see how this Madolche approaches it.
It literally has to be board breaker or bust. I don't see how Madolche can just out this natively.
Okay, Desires. Is it an ultimate rare?
That is an ulti.
Real respects real.
You can see his hand reflecting off of the foiling, which means it's very shiny.
You do not need to activate Chen Ying here, even though a card was banished.
You can, however, yeah. It's not
your opponent has now reduced their monster's attack by 1,000.
That's
plus whatever you have banished.
Funny.
And you've just gained 1,000 attack.
It's extremely funny. Just wait till a normal monster declares battle. See what happens.
Yep, so all your monsters now lose 1,000 attack. Is it attack and defense?
Yeah. And then Chen Ying gains, so he's on like 4,000 right now.
Sword Soul.
But this is the thing, like Matthew's got 7 minutes 50 left in this round. He has to still win the game. And then, I mean, Brennan can probably make Cowboy. I don't know.
I don't think you're getting enough resources on board to Cowboy, unfortunately.
If he's playing Rafflesia, he might be playing Cowboy.
This is so rough. I bet he Druid Shifter off the top.
Oh, man. Can we get some Fs in chat for D Shifter?
Okay, we're imperming
something.
Yeah.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That means your Blackout now has to actually be a 2 for 2, but not a huge trade-off here. Salon.
Okay.
Additional normal. That's
so helpful. you have a normal and a additional normal.
All right. So we are just attempting to break the board.
So we're going to normal summon the Mageline. Now the Mageline's really strong here.
And again, we have that's probably our additional normal, I'd imagine.
And is it Petting says there is no cards in grave?
No monster.
No monsters in grave.
It's almost like why you wouldn't be D Shifter, right? Like you don't really want.
You can hoot cake to banish.
Sure. Petting Sister's a great starter though. All right, we are going to just black out immediately. This is a little sus. I don't know. I guess taking them off the Salon. Oh, and you also have the Chi Zhao negate, so there's still interaction here.
Oh yeah, the Madolche will activate any new chain to shuffle back.
Yeah.
That's where Chen Ying's quite powerful, because if you pop a Madolche, they trigger to shuffle back, and your Chen Ying, because your turn player, your Chain Link 2 as not active player, you just get to banish out the Madolches.
All right, so he adds the
Petting Cessor
here.
Okay.
He's going to use the effect because she was shuffled back. Crackdown. Come on. Oh my god.
I mean, its effect will still resolve.
No, it's tribute itself, right?
No, if it's special summoned, it can summon a.
Oh, okay. We're just really trying to keep him off. And this is kind of what I was saying. Like Madolche, this is not how you play against them. It's kind of weird seeing these effects chained this way. Like Mageline's just kind of an uninteractable.
Okay, no, we're going game 3.
We'll still get it, but crackdown negates effects.
No, Crackdown, you cannot activate the effect.
Yeah.
You can still, if you summon something and you chain Crackdown with an on-summon effect.
I'm fairly certain Penning Test is an ignition effect.
It is a on-special summon.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Take it back.
You never used the second effect because you played an Adamantipator, that's why.
Magdalene is like a not interactable card. It's really, especially if it's like summoned with Salon as well.
Also, you just don't want them to get to Souffle because then Souffle can't be, it's unaffected by cards.
Yeah.
So like Souffle is just so powerful.
Now Matthew does win if he makes long one into a synchro. I don't think Madolche actually have.
Madolche win if he opens Gravedigger again.
Okay, yeah, Gravedigger would win immediately in time. But if long one resolves, it would be very funny because Madolche can't negate a card in graveyard. Very silly.
Okay, I think you'll probably just want every single piece of consistency if you're Bren here going forward. And I think if you're Matthew, you want every piece of interruption you can afford. You want to be able to negate effects. You want to be able to stop summons. You want to be able to interact with, things being shuffled back. There's so much that you want to be interacting with. It's kind of crazy. 4 minutes in time as well.
Yeah.
You can side for up to 3 minutes, just for reference. You cannot take the 3 minutes.
I should let you guys know I've given these guys a small extension based on the judge rulings earlier as well.
That is fine. Absolutely understandable.
That's totally fair.
It was quite confusing. And I don't blame. It's so much work to understand a lot of these things. Maybe he'll make Raph to play into time.
But you can't. Your opponent has to do something there, right?
But realistically, that's also not incorrect.
Of course, yeah. But I mean,
Rafflesia does affect that one. But it's also almost not advised. Okay, no, we're making Matthew go first.
This is interesting. I guess because they've had an extension, winning in time seems less appealing. And actually,
Radiant.
Madolche are a going second deck a lot of the time. They want to utilize their So yeah, Heavenly Dragon Cycle is kind of sick. So
we do see the shifter.
Oh, that's rough. Heavenly Dragon Cycle tributes and then searches, which of course puts the Tenyi in grave, which is where you want it to be. It's a good card. It also just cycles for a worm, which is why I was thinking it's surprising Sword Soul Tenyi don't play it, because you can special a Tenyi and then just search.
Oh, it tributes its cost, so that means that shifter will chain.
Mapura not the one you need here. But yeah, it just adds a Sword Soul monster by tributing a Tenyi. That's crazy. You can also activate something like Moye, and if they impermit, you can just cycle, swap it, and then get the token. Also kind of sick.
This is very interesting, because having that Mapura in grave does mean that it does have to go to grave for a synchro summon, so you do not get the dump.
Yeah.
Because having the Mapura in grave off the tribute for the Heavenly Dragon Cycle did mean that the tire target was legal.
All right, so we are going for an 8. It probably just has to be Chi Zhao here.
It's either Chi Zhao or
There's no
Chi
reason for it to
Zhao,
not
search
be Chi Zhao.
Blackout.
You can search Long One here.
You definitely search Long One, actually. Absolutely, because Long One just has to discard. It's the clause to Caress.
You can get Blackout too if you just want to
okay, we do have the Ash. Ash is banished.
That is unfortunate because normally you can chain block this, but without a graveyard, you can't really do anything.
The Ash is banished just because of the D-shifter, but I don't believe it'll heavily impact the game.
Yeah. I mean, Madolche generally...
Call Xyz.
Ooh. Quite early to fire that off, but I mean, Madolche don't have non-Xyz plays, so that's kind of hot.
Shifter is banished.
They've realized the Ash.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, calling Xyz there is kind of huge.
I mean, your biggest threat is Souffle Shuffles.
And you
Souffle Shuffles, Misu Shuffles.
You haven't turned off your own synchro here, so yeah, we're just fishing for desires. Oof.
That is, I mean, obviously we see 1 minute left in time. We're aware that they do have longer, so it isn't as detrimental. However, we are still close to the end of time, as we know it itself.
Probably not going to get to deck out. You're right.
Yeah.
5 cards in hand. Do they do anything? Is the question.
With a D barrier, I don't think
they don't have link plays, so it could be like.
I mean, they just get Sistart.
to start pass and hope for the best.
But it's like Souffle and a la mode are just so impactful for that deck.
T-Barrier doing its job. Oh, doesn't even have a Madolche to add back, so Promenade is not live. Is this a twin? Tell me this is twin twisters. That would be... I mean, if it's Blackout, I could see him
Blackout's probably quite viable here.
No, I don't like it because that just puts your guy into banish for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, you could Blackout now and then use like Sacred Summit to reborn him. Or Shaman. Just attacking.
Okay.
Kind of hit a stalemate here. No D-Barrier means Brennan can just pop off next time. I mean, he could have a second one. Brennan's obviously got a good hand.
Okay, so we're now in the time extension.
Neither player has dealt damage.
Neither player has dealt damage. Okay, we're passing.
Oh, God.
I do think we just have to start.
Brennan had just bricked anyway? He didn't even need the D-Barrier. I guess maybe Brennan can't play through the Chi Zhao.
Yeah, because Chi Zhao can banish a Soul or Worm from hand or grave.
So I'm going to assume going second, Brennan probably has a Nibiru in hand.
Yeah, we do see the 3-8.
But like Nibiru D-Shift is such a scuffed combo because...
Is that not live? Mapura? No, that is 4 summons, yeah. In that turn one, it was Mapura, Taya, Token, Chi Zhao.
Wow, and we really have just bricked.
I think end step, if you black out, you definitely You definitely do it.
It's got to be Blackout set, right? There's no way he would have thought about it last round or last turn.
Wow, 3 Ash Blossom.
To be fair...
okay, so it was, I believe, a 3-minute extension, so we do see we're going into time now.
To be fair to Matthew as well, none of that back row has done anything so far. Like, there's no reason to...
threaten it out.
To do anything.
You don't want to put Madolche cards in grave. That's
true. All right, Brennan, what have you got?
Okay, Chateau.
Chateau could be relevant. You might have a bunch of petting cessors you can't use because of D-Shifter. Right, so we're going to shuffle... it's only Madolches.
Shuffle Madolche monsters.
Oh.
Salon.
Okay.
Okay.
Salon into 3 back row doesn't seem particularly great. Well, there's the Magellin.
And there's the Crackdown.
Again, interesting. Magellin will resolve.
The Promenade?
Promenade adding Magellin back to hand. And then
Whoa!
The counter trap. Let's go. Okay, this just negates a spell trap or monster effect. Doesn't destroy, funnily enough, but doesn't matter.
I mean, negates activation, so.
Yeah. This counter trap, it's only if you control a non-effect monster, which is obviously trivial in this deck. And if it's destroyed, you get to summon a non-effect monster from your extra deck, which is very funny. And that'll be the concession. Damn.
Wow.
Had the Protoss. Jesus.
Incredible. Oh, yeah. Protoss banished 3.
Earth, yeah.
You can call Earth by destroying the monk. And destroy the monk.
That's pretty hot against Madolche.
Yeah, that was wild. You almost would have... I think you almost want to shotgun the shifter in standby phase.
I mean, you hadn't seen Heavenly Dragon Cycle.
Yeah, you just didn't know.
It doesn't make sense to just play into what could be Gamma. So, I mean, we played our best. We just didn't draw. Yeah, Petting Cessor in hand, I imagine.
Yeah.
With all those monsters. Not as good.
That was incredible.
Right, we won't be able to keep these guys long because that was an extension. Hello.
Hello. Congratulations, Matthew, taking 2 wins on stream. How are you feeling?
No stream curse for this guy.
It's always a great game against Brennan. And yeah, just a great opponent. So, happy with the game.
Yeah, it looked like some really deep chain links happened there.
Yes.
Insane.
Yeah, too deep.
Children's card.
Yeah,
game.
very fascinating. And so I guess so what does that put your records at now at the end of round 4?
So 3 wins, 1 loss for me.
I'll be 2-2 now. So.
Okay, cool. So Matthew, you would say that you have a chance of getting into the top 4. Is that what I can understand?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Seems likely, yeah.
Okay. So very much a deciding match.
Do you know who else is undefeated? I mean, you'll be in your next round soon, I imagine.
I'm not sure, but probably the Flunderies deck that beat both of us.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Ooh.
That is a hell of a matchup for both of your decks. You do love to special summon. and love to have those monsters be face up, I imagine, as well.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, well, we'll let you go. Obviously, that was quite a long match, but thank you very much.
Good games.
And
good games.
Matthew, good luck for the top 4.
Yeah, good luck.
Yay. Thank you very much. Yeah, I can see Dino's comment. Magellin triggers on summon, so Crackdown doesn't even stop it. That's correct. I believe, unfortunately, if you black out the Salon, he doesn't get the additional summon. And because he was stuck with the monsters in grave, he unfortunately couldn't petting Cesar out to continue.
I don't think Magdalene, like, searching anything does anything there.
Yeah.
It gets you a follow-up, but I think he just knew he was dead on the crackback.
Yeah.
Crackdown? Eh?
Crackdown.
Can I get a sub for that one, gang?
Yeah,
that was
can I
pretty
get a
good.
Crackback down.
It's been 4 hours. No, not even.
No, it's not. But yeah, that was amazing. Really. Oh, Waterfall of the Dragon Souls. This was something you were on too.
I mean, you get it's draw a card, baby.
Draw a card.
Tenyi's had like so many neat techs, and even Heavenly Dragon Cycle is just way too balanced because it was a common. But it does let you,
as you said, cycle it.
You can banish it to search any Tenyi spell trap, including the counter trap. So
counter trap, field spell.
It's really strong. It's just hard to get into graveyard, unfortunately.
Yeah. Without playing like Foolish Burial Goods.
Yeah, which is just bad. Just a bad thing to do. All right, looks like top 4 is being announced. Love to see Tenyi in there. Like,
congratulations. That is an amazing feat. I feel like that's
this deck really is just Sword Soul minus Baron.
It's kind of cooler.
It's definitely cooler, and I think Sahasrara definitely showed off its ability as a floodgate against Sky Striker.
Absolutely.
I think Sword Soul deck should make Sahasrara, honestly. That card's kind of sick. Like,
it's just better when you like can already move to your opponent's turn with the non-effect monster. I think that's where Tenyi come in, because you can just link into a monk Sahasrara and then you have the targeting protection already.
You need Meme, like legit. Meme is like the only way you're making that.
Agreed. And I mean, thank goodness that at this moment in time, no Sword Soul player has cracked or has broken Meme into Sword Soul combos.
I mean, you probably can.
You probably can.
You know, like why? Like, you can just play like good cards, I guess. We're just seeing Matthew straight at it again. Damn, the stream champion. Can he go
3 for
3-0 on stream against Penned Madge? Hell yeah.
All right.
Pen Magician. Oh, no, Magician Pendulum. Sorry.
Jamie Mason.
I love me some Pendulum.
Pendulum's great. As we said, it kind of is getting like drip fed all its things off the ban list. Yep. So I'd love to see how this goes. This means, I think maybe Greg's listening. So Greg, what does that make your top 4? So Tenyi, Magician, Pendulum. Obviously, I think Fluanda is what they mentioned. Like what do you think? What do you think's the last one?
Our top 4 right now is confirmed. Fluandaries, Magic-Key, Tenyi, and Pendulum.
Let's go. Magic-Key.
Let's go. Come on.
So we're seeing Tenyi versus Pendulum Magician, and then off screen in the store, we are seeing Fluanda versus Magic-Key. So, I mean, that's 2 bow decks, like, essentially against each other.
Yeah, Magic-Key definitely wasn't a deck before. I mean, it was, but
barely.
It had a lot of needs, and it got most of them.
It did, absolutely. All right, well, good luck to these 2 players here. I think you absolutely want to win the die roll if you're Tenyi, or if you're Magician Pendulum.
You really want to win the die roll if you're on Pendulum. They can go second, but they have to draw like Scales
really well,
Joker, and some big guys. I mean, the funny thing about Magician Pendulum is there is literally just not a deck. Like, no one can agree how to play this deck. There's like 40 variants.
There's so much variance within the deck.
You're either playing
crazy.
Like Pendulum Graph Turbo, or you're doing the Dagda Scythe stuff, or you're trying to like kind of relive the glory days of Endymion with
we do see Pendulum winning the die roll
with Jackal King and cards like that. Mythical Beasts. There's like 40 different Pendulum engines that you can put together and I guess have a deck.
Yeah. Oh, apologies. We see Magician Penned piloting Jamie Mason is actually what's going on here.
Sorry, yeah.
I know that they swapped it around. Love this. I'm so excited for this matchup.
Right,
okay, Allure.
A blind Allure into discard hand pass.
Yeah,
obviously. Come on. Nah.
Tuning. You play 3 of it. That's absolutely fine.
It's like Mike playing tier 1 meta goes X6. Mike playing Magic-Key undefeated. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a good deck. What can I say?
What's unique, it's different, and I think that's what it... Okay, we're seeing a Pendulum Call discarding a Dragon Pit.
All right, Pen Call is just like an FTK. This card is just so good.
It's not an FTK anymore, though.
It's pretty good.
I mean, this also relies on hard opening your Pendulum Graphs if you're on them, but I'd assume you're not, because you want to be popping your Scales. That's kind of the whole purpose of that, and Pendulum Call protecting that is a...
Yeah, I love that this card has protection as a downside. Just to really...
you literally cannot chronograph under Pendulum Call.
Oh, he's... What?
You cannot activate it because it destroys. I'm gonna.
Awesome. Well, a great start.
Great start from the player here.
Chronograph isn't send. I don't know.
Chronograph is destroy this card, and if you do.
Yeah, that just doesn't. That's just not how that works. Doesn't it summon? Oh, you can put it in scale.
No, but you destroy this card, and if you do.
Call only protects magicians.
Oh, magician pendulums.
You kidding
Apologies. Me? Yeah, no, it's correct. That is correct.
Kinda
magician
sick,
pendulum.
Kind of slick with it though. Thanks, Dino.
Okay, she's live. You're good. Apologies.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not. Okay. Pro tip: don't search pendulum in a neuron. You just get every pendulum card.
Yeah, just his magician pendulum cards.
Yeah. I've never read this card. Yeah. Apparently. All right, pen 4, and then I don't know, harmonizing and pen sork. Whoa.
Pendulum Sorcerer is seeing a lot of play because
and then it's popping double iris in the
monster
zone, so it actually triggers. You gotta be kidding me, baby! That's so cool. All right, I can see why Jamie is topping with pendulum, and I am not.
I agree
because he's drawn good and he reads his cards. Add Joker, haven't normal, by the way. Must be nice.
This is so fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, we're living the Yu Yu Sakaki dream. This is a...
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
we have been playing Performer Pal Pendulums since they came out, and they've never been bad. They've only been banned.
So how this will be your tuning magician?
Yeah, how can a Dagda, I think, is what this is going to be. And I mean, how does Tenyi beat that? Realistically. I mean, there isn't any way to start of main, like, get rid of the set Scythe. Has to be like main decked Cosmic or Kaijus, I guess. Because even if you go to like Vishuda, they can just like, okay, cool, on resolution.
We're going to Selene here. That makes a lot of sense. So we've got 4, 5. Yeah.
Go for Selene first. Get 4 counters.
4, apologies.
Reborn something doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's not overly concerning. I mean, I guess the pit engrave because it's a 7. So
we could also be going for like Time Pendulum Graph plus. Stargazer here.
No, you're definitely going for because the Zhang Key is a 7, so you're going for the reborning the pit, overlaying for the absolute, linking into IP to get your Selene.
Again, could literally be anything.
Get your Vortex.
These decks just do something. That's all that matters. Yeah, we're getting the 7 here, so we're going to make some odd eyes plays.
Nope, we're just linking.
What are we making now?
Dagda?
Appaloosa.
Okay.
Sure.
Lovely alternate art.
Normal tire response?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 counters.
I don't know if I...
Well, let's see what else is in the play.
So we get the tuning
Summon
reborn.
back tuning magician.
Yeah. Burn gain.
Yeah, let's get that burn damage on the screen.
Yep. Thank you. Gain 200, burn 200. Not a problem. Time in the round.
Just 34 minutes of
400.
34 minutes of slow playing, and you can lose the game.
Gorge. Love that. Fair and balanced card.
All right, now we're going to Synchro?
Yeah, they're both banished because they were summoned off. It was tuning off itself and
okay, just a B-Sav, you know?
Okay, get the Selene.
We have reverse engineered the Infernoble end board with
this is great. Because isn't you just normal Joker, search.
Oh yeah, we haven't normaled.
Yeah, and then there's your time
okay, so he's playing the Time Star into Pendulum Graph with a bunch of negates.
I mean, I don't blame. It's super,
Well, it's funny that he had like the absolute material and didn't go for that line. I mean, realistically, that's kind of the same as making a Borrowload Savage Dragon. I don't know.
Yeah, you get the IP as well.
Well, you'd go like Appaloosa with the Vortex Dragon because you'd still have the Selene in that instance. It doesn't matter. You're just making some variation of...
Dweller.
Oh, man. He has just pre-gamed this matchup because he knows he's against Tenyi. I mean, fair. It's top 4. You know what your opponent's playing. You might as well just like hard make the thing that kills them. Most EDs don't run it anymore due to space. Fair.
Yeah.
It is like
tight.
Playing a bad card just to make a good card is like 2 spots. It's kind of rough. And yeah, we're pre-gaming against Tenyi. Abyss Dweller is past turn, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, activate from hand, droplet, send monster.
I mean, sure. I wasn't critiquing him for not making vortex
Yeah.
either. Like, it's the same board. It's just
it's so tough.
I just kind of like vortex. It's sort of slick with it.
Yeah, it's such a tough one because, like we've discussed, Pendulum Magicians itself is just such a versatile engine and can put out so many diverse inboards.
It can be like 4-axis or, just like more pure link combo. Yeah, let's out the Appaloosa. I knew it. Nice Apollo. Yep. Now you can just time Pendulum Graph this and effectively end the game, I believe. You're still under pen call as well.
Yeah,
Not that it matters,
I mean it's correct.
Yeah, we're protecting with pen call just can't be destroyed.
Yeah. It's corrective. Matthew did not put anything else on the board because of time Pendulum Graph's
Jamie, would you
secondary
like to
effect.
send another card on the field to the graveyard, non-targeting?
We're attempting to summon a
All right,
10.
just stall for 31 minutes and 50 seconds. You're all good. I love that Brothers of Legend is pink. It's such
Me too. It's
such a
cute.
pretty little box. I love it.
The summons are once per turn.
We're just activating 10-year effects for fun now. Is on Chitana. I'm glad he's on Chitana. Chitana's kind of hot. Kind of slick with it. Yep.
Yeah. Another 10 year?
I don't know, man. Like another 10 year?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he's revealed Chitana, Mapura.
I mean, that's the entire hand. You can just like freely negate this. Who cares?
Surely. You just don't let them get away.
I mean, also, like, doesn't matter. Like, you can negate the blackout if they have it, so kind of does the same thing.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
I'm
you
pretty
negate
sure you
this.
just like say no. Yeah.
Yeah. That is game.
That's a game, right?
Yeah.
We just pen summon 3.
Carve the arc of victory.
I'm taking control of this duel starting now. Yeah, we sure are, buddy. Oh my god, that's so many cards in the extra deck. And pen call just giving you like perfect scales is what you want to be doing.
Yes.
Doesn't Time Star also have battle like trap protection? What does it do?
If a pendulum that would be destroyed, you can send a spellcaster from deck to
Oh,
grave.
really? That's its effect?
A pendulum spellcast monster or something.
Oh, yeah.
Time Star's good. Obviously, as we said, you pre-game, so you know that Dweller just shuts off 10 year.
Funny that like Time Star now sees play as like a scale because it used to just be like.
Sorry, you're thinking of time. You're thinking of Time Star Magician.
Yeah, it's funny. It used to just be like Electromite food, and now it's actually being played.
Oh yeah, sorry. Time Star's scale effect is, I think, irrelevant unless you control like another magician. Its on-field effect is the first time a thing can be destroyed by card effects. It's not.
I just remembering the anime, the time reversal when someone activates a trap card.
Yes, it is trap protection.
All right, your Pendulum Magician doing what it does best, going first.
Yes. Going first with no interaction.
I'm not going to say it has no go second. Pendulum decks all have a go second. It's called pendulum summoning, but you have to open pretty good to resolve all those effects without being interrupted. All right, Gamma 2. And this is a real deciding factor. I mean, top 4. This is singular limb.
We see that. Dino, congratulations to Dino for making it in top 4 for the Bay Dragon.
Nice. Got an invite to something. Aaron Dennis first. I mean, they all had the same wins. Hilarious. So no one went undefeated, seems.
There has to be a top cut.
Oh, yeah, there has to be, right? Because there has to be a winner.
Yes.
Yeah, really gate-kept Michaels out of the top cut here.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, game 2. I think obviously you're going first if you're Matthew. What do you... I mean, you played Dimensional Barrier. Hello?
Yeah, that kind of wins you the game on the spot. Because you can call Pendulum.
Yeah. I feel like that's absolutely...
Every single card in his deck is now useless.
Yeah. I feel like you're definitely going first maining or siding into the D barriers.
I mean, you got to draw them.
You do got to draw them.
You can't just...
And you got no Moye to add an additional draw to your factor. Oh, he's on Desires, though. And you obviously assume there's 3. This is going to be an interesting game, too. Oh, yeah, reset. No pre-game Tuning Magician burn.
Tuning Magician just like putting you behind is so funny.
It's just such a fascinating effect.
Considering now they just...
Because the thing is, you can do it twice. Like, you can special summon it from hand and from grave, and you can just literally start your game on 7-2.
I'm just like, considering they now print cards that just to burn your opponent for 1,200 for no reason. The fact that they used to balance cards that way is so funny. All right, can we see a no material hit the field? I don't know. All right, long one.
All right, long one, discarding Mare.
Okay, well, that does get you. Is he even going to make the token, or does he just go straight for Shaman? Yeah, he's just going straight for Shaman. Nope. I was like...
No, you definitely make your Chen Ying here.
Yeah, sure.
That being said, Pendulum do not put a lot of cards in grave, so...
There should be enough, right? Like, they activate spells.
Wow, really burn for 1,200, please, every time.
The side deck in Pendulums is also just scary to verse. Is it?
Like
yes. Sphere mode? Yeah, I guess you're right.
Pendulum can just side so much.
Yeah, they just side every board breaker.
Dinkos, sphere modes,
they really don't. They really don't need like
there's just
traps.
So much utility. Oh, Protoss.
You've got to be kidding me. Oh,
Call Dark?
Yeah, for sure. Just pass. Yeah, you know.
I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get nibbed, but Protoss is activated and resolved if he has no response to the summon.
Oh, set Dimensional Barrier pass. Let's go. I mean,
just the fattest.
It might be
absolutely no.
I'm pretty sure all the Pendulum monsters are like mostly darks, right? Like the Odd Eyes cards might be different attributes. Protoss is a bastard to deal with. He's not even playing Emergence. He just drew it. What a champion. Actually, he might be playing Emergence. I don't know. I haven't seen him draw it ever. Duelist Alliance. Sure.
Good card.
Yeah, it's a good one. Puts a card in grave for Chen Ying. Yeah, there's something about the board of Chen Ying Protoss that just screams like you'll see this shit at Worlds or something. You know what I mean? Like it just has a vibe about it. It's just like, that is like one of the best just 2 cards you could have on your field ever. All right, we've added Pendulum Graph? Star Pendulum Graph? Sure.
I mean, you've called Dark. I don't know.
Yeah, like, what do you even summon? Okay, Wisdom Eye is a decent start. We can Wisdom Eye here, trigger Star Pendulum Graph. Okay. We definitely would have seen a sphere mode if there was a sphere mode. That is
we
3
would,
monsters.
yep, absolutely.
Wisdom Eye effect. I'm gonna read Wisdom Eye here. What is the play here if you're Jamie? Guess your only hope is to like stick to non-darks and make like Link play. I mean, it's far be it for me to know exactly how to play Pendulum, but it doesn't seem like an easy thing to do. Okay, Purple Poison's a decent start.
I mean, no dark effects.
You can use dark effects. Only you can't summon.
Oh, is that
it's
correct?
Not VFD. Yeah, Protoss doesn't negate effects. You just can't summon monsters of the attribute declared. And it just targeted itself, obviously, because it wasn't destroyed.
Yes. You cannot summon.
It's hilarious they made the searchable one a dark. Like, the better attribute.
Yeah, but the other one's dragon.
Yeah, they picked some good typings for those. The funnest idea of Nemesis is that you draw both and you can just call the exact type and attribute of your opponent's deck. You just go like, oh, fire Cybers. Your opponent's like, excuse me?
I mean, they have to be types and attributes on the field.
Sure, yeah. But there was always like lines where you could just make the nightmares and, do it that way for attributes.
Neither player can special summon monsters with that attribute.
Yeah.
Okay. So no pens. You can still normal Joker.
Yeah. Sure.
Sure, gal.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, you could normal Joker and beat over Monk. Sounds good.
Yes.
Yes.
Pendulum?
Pendulum 1.
Wisdom Eye
It's
is a light.
yeah.
Yep.
But the Chen Ying is like obviously live. He wouldn't make this play if it wasn't live.
I mean, they have a card engraved. He has Duelist Alliance. Chen Ying must banish from grave and field.
Right. Selling cards and passing. That's exactly what Matthew wants to see.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Did we open Time Pendulum Graph as well?
Fat lot of good it's going to do to him because you can't destroy... Oh, you can target the Chen Ying because there's no cards engraved.
Yeah, that seems...
And fists. Sick.
Oh, we're just negating it. Damn. It was fists.
I mean... no, negates activation, it'll be sent to grave because the card activates.
Does it negate activation?
Yeah, because if you Bell Schism, it goes to grave.
No, I'm like, does it negate effects or activations? I don't even know.
We can check. Fists.
I assume if it negates spell traps, it negates spell trap activations. There's no way they'd make it just effect.
Negate the activation. Yeah. So it negates the activation because you activate the card. So it is just similar. Like if you...
Are they debating whether or not he...
loses it?
Well, no. Are they debating whether or not Jamie activated Time Pendulum Graph without effect?
You don't have to.
And then
your opponent can just fist. Oh, he's saying
is Jamie saying you let me activate it and then you negated the effect? No, that's not how that card works. No. Also, you have to give your opponent an opportunity to
respond
their card in a legal activation like window. If you just go like activate Time Pendulum Graph effect. And they go, oh, negate the activation. You go, oh, too late. I've already activated the effect. That's not how Yu-Gi-Oh works. Protoss is also a 2500 body.
So. It's 29, isn't it?
No, they're flipped, so it's like 25, 3K, 3K, 25. He's kind of big with it, though.
It's 25, 3K, yeah. And then Eschatos is 3K, 25, yeah.
And then Chen Ying is some number of big.
I mean, how many? There's 3 banished? So
3 banished cards. And then here's the thing. If Matthew can manually banish anything right now, then that's the end of the game.
That's damage, yeah.
Well, because Chen Ying will just... I mean, he didn't use Long One's effect, so Jamie is on 8,000, but...
Love to not activate the effect of Long One.
It's fine. He's just going to win anyway.
I mean, yeah, you just go battle, clean up the board.
I guess he really has nothing.
Oh, well, it's also... it's tough, because if he's set Purple Poison, you definitely don't want to attack into it, because...
Can he not banish anything? Like, how is his hand 0 Tenyi?
I don't know.
Okay, we're attacking the Wisdom Eye.
That's correct.
Then we're attacking...
Yeah, and then the Pendulum Graph mandatory add.
Unfortunate Matthew doesn't have, like, any more gas. I think this board... I mean, you can use Protoss again, which is very fun, but...
At this point, Protoss control is very viable, because...
You're not wrong, yeah. You can. I've never seen someone activate Protoss twice, but it might happen here. Normally, it just wins you the game. So I guess Jamie looking for a non-dark monster here.
Surely like Oath Dragon.
It's a dark.
Harmonizing's dark.
Not going to be super useful.
Oath Dragon's a wind.
Okay, it could have been Oath Dragon.
This is correct.
Double Iris.
Okay.
Take like 800 or something. Oh, it's losing attack and defense. Sure. Isn't Wisdom I got a big butt? Double Iris?
No, Purple Poison's the one with the big butt.
Oh, yeah. Let me just get in direct.
Double Iris.
Chen Ying.
Yep. Double is 1 word. Pendulum Dragon card. It's 1,000 defense, yeah.
Oof. Attack.
And then
he
that's
was arguing they just bounce, yeah.
Yeah, no, but they lose attack and defense.
No set cards.
Main 2, Protoss Call Dark Pass, yeah.
I can't hear them, but I assume he would. I would hope he would.
I feel like that's correct.
Seems like a good play.
Cannot special summon. You can normal summon Joker. That's absolutely fine. Pendulum.
Sick.
Wisdom. Normal Hammer.
Well, it worked out great for him last turn. Is there like an extra deck play you can make here?
Is Hammer's light? No, Harmonizing's dark, surely.
I think he normaled it.
It was a normal summon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thought so.
Ignis to Prominence, that's a good one.
That does out
everything.
Yeah, Pendulum Graph Wall Search.
It's always rough that Matthew just didn't have anything.
Yes.
Like, you can still kind of just like pick boards apart with Magician Pens. Summon from deck or?
No, he's going to target to destroy and shuffle. I would assume you shuffle the Protoss, pop the Chinying because there's no Worms Engrave. It's definitely, I feel like...
Yeah, going to destroy that.
Oh no, shuffling the Chinying.
And then, ooh.
Poison.
Pop the Monk.
Monk.
That turns them off like follow-up plays. You can just battle over the Protoss.
You can.
2850 attack on 2500.
Yeah, sick. Take 350.
All right. So Jamie's going to be passing on nothing here. So if Matthew draws like anything, he should be fine. But he has to draw something. Like a Taya would do it. And a Shuna would do it.
Yep, Oath to add back. The Harmonizing.
Yeah. A Shuna or Taya would do it here. Anything else is going to be a little bit rough. A Vessel would also do it, I think.
No. Vessel does not do it because unfortunately you've got the Arshana. That's a summit.
Sacred Summit off the top, baby. What?
What?
Why? What?
Apologies?
Wait, you drew Monster Reborn and you're setting it? Why? I don't understand.
Oh, he has no Sword Souls Engrave.
He has Chen Ying.
No, Chen Ying got shuffled.
Oh. Oh no.
Yep. Pop, shuffle.
Now we are just dead. Wow, we actually took that one. I'm shocked. Played through double Protoss.
That's, I mean, kudos. Summon your fires. Yeah.
Damn, yeah, I thought Chen Ying was in his grave, but Jamie strategically got rid of it.
Pendulum summon the Wisdom. Oh, maybe he's a...
He just gets to style now. I mean, he knows he's just not playing around like a Nibiru at most.
This is, super interesting. Because, there was... Matthew really just needed a singular...
Yeah. Jamie needed to fade 2 draws in a deck with like 12 starters. And
he did.
Which happens. I mean, you got to get lucky sometimes.
So add that to hand off the Oath Dragon. You can then Pendulum summon from your hand, I believe, because this is just going to be a metric ton of damage. Summon purple, Kaiju, Janky, Double Iris. Yeah, that is game.
Wow.
Quite
a comeback. I mean,
and then
summon off the top. Yeah. Oh, is it double summit in hand? That's rough.
I don't think it was double summit.
It was. He just revealed his hand was another summit, I think.
If that's the case, then that's unfortunate. Yeah, that is.
It's almost like, it's hard to say, like,
and
summoning the Protoss gave him no follow-up because all of his stuff was banished.
But it did play... Oh, no, it didn't play under Nib. Protoss faded 5th summon.
But it faded 2 turns. So it's hard to say it was a misplay.
Yeah.
Someone called Triff. He's coming.
Ding, ding. All right. Hello. Unfortunate defeat here for the 10-year player, but congratulations to Pendulum.
Still 2-1 on stream. Pretty respectable. And Jamie, first time seeing you on stream. That was buttery. I mean, played through Protoss for 2 turns.
Well, luckily I was able to just sort of set up a defense with the purple poison.
Well, you needed Matthew to fade 2 draws because any live banish would have just wiped your field with the Chen Ying.
Yeah, so. That's what I was afraid of. Luckily he had no cards in his graveyard at the time. So
We had double summit, right, Matthew?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
And even like you summoned the Protoss, which obviously got rid of all the like sword cells in your graveyard, but it's arguable to say that's a misplay because that Protoss did essentially Pot of Greed. You got to draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't summon
man.
any darks.
Yep, can't summon darks. This is just my note, going for the 3rd time, Matthew. Is there a reason you don't activate Long One's effect to burn for 1200 when you synchro summon?
I have done
God.
it every time today, except for once, and that is just because I'm not used to playing the deck.
Yeah,
That is fair.
I
It is a
figured.
new card. As someone who's playing Sword Soul, it's
Yeah.
like, well, this is the best win in time machine
You ever
ever.
seen the person who tattooed Scam Effect end phase on their hand?
Really?
We might get there eventually with
Yeah,
this.
Long One burn. So obviously, congratulations to Jamie. Do you guys do you know what you'll be facing in the finals?
I know both of the decks. I first Mike in the in the start 4 rounds. I haven't
The
versed.
Battle of Bode going on over there. It's Flawanda versus Magiki.
Yeah, I haven't versed the Flanders.
Oh god.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Have you read their cards? They're super weird.
Yeah, I sort of
The
know
spell
how
that
but
turns
not really
everything
well.
into a kaiju. Too strong.
Yeah. Well, like, have you you enjoyed Protoss there? How do you feel about Wind Barrier Statue?
Yeah, that's not very good.
Could be in your future.
Yeah, that's really difficult to play through for me.
Be interesting. I guess, Matthew, obviously coming out of the top 4, what was your biggest takeaway from the event? Anything that you learned or anything you're going to apply going forward?
I think I probably still need to mess with the kind of ratios in the deck. I probably running too many Sacred Summit for the number of Sword Souls that I'm playing. So probably just cutting that down, and maybe just not adding anything in replacement because I'm running 44 cards at the moment. So dropping down.
I mean,
a few
even
cards.
Sword Soul doesn't run more than 1 summit, and they're playing a lot more Sword Soul cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, Jamie, what's your strategy going forward? I guess, obviously, you've got 2 very different decks that you could be potentially facing down.
Yeah,
what is your maybe tech or, ready to deal with potentially any problems these decks show off?
Yeah, well, I guess really I just got to try and win the dice roll. To go.
Yeah, well, that's Pendulum's
Worked
best
you so
strategy.
far, yeah.
Otherwise, if I go second, I'm just going to have to rely on drawing Ash. Or because I'm maining Ash Blossom, I know a lot of Pendulumists aren't maining hand traps, but I feel like.
Are you citing anything for established boards like Pendex plays Spear mode or?
Yeah, I do have Dark Rollers and I've got Radiant Kaijus.
Yeah, we did see the Kaiju, yeah.
Yeah.
Great Dark Monster special summon under Protoss.
And
how was that?
Especially because it's a
how
dark.
have you found Magician Pens?
Yeah, well, they seem to
in
be
this
doing
format?
like especially the trap is so searchable, and being able to like send 2 cards on your opponent's field to the grave, destroy one, send the other. It just it works against so many decks.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that's exactly how Sword Soul function, having the large Chen Yang to banish and protect and just effectively destroy 2 cards.
Yeah, the traps are really strong this format, I feel.
Agreed.
And the way that you sort of try and build it with the pendulums is you try and have an Appaloosa negate as well, so that the Appaloosa can negate your, can stop your opponent
saw that,
interacting with the trap.
It's the endless chain of 10 years in hand, like this one?
Yeah.
No, this one, no.
Yeah, this one allowed? Okay, yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I just was scared if his face downs were going to be like Dark Hole or something. It's like, I'll negate everything.
Very valid.
And then he flips over a ball clear or something.
Someone was on Raigeki today. I didn't see who it was.
We did see a Raigeki today.
I mean Raigeki.
Oh, you mean Raigeki? Yeah, okay. That would
Stunning,
have
yeah.
I would have respected that.
Yeah.
Yep, set 2, 3 years.
44 cards, main deck Raigeki. Hang on.
Right.
I'm liking what I'm hearing, Doll.
I'm hearing something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll let you 2 go. Obviously, Jamie, prepare for your final round. But congratulations, you 2, on earning invites to further events.
Thank you.
What a great way to start off competitive seasons. And congratulations to both of you. And good luck for your final round, Jamie.
Cool, thanks for that, guys.
Cheers.
See ya.
Thank you.
Oh, finals.
I mean, two very different decks facing off in the other top 4.
Not to root against my boy Mike, but
You want to see some birds?
kind of want to see Fluanda at least once. That deck is so fucking cool.
And there's Awakening the Dragon. Absolutely stunning. Kaiju's, Dark Ruler, Awakening the Dragon. Yeah, I'll be super interested to see what wins that match because I mean, Fluanda are such a hate to that kind of ritual style, let alone the ability to
You can dimension
interact.
shift to that.
Is that
deck.
Oh, that's a Mystery Shell Dragon I see.
Mystery Shell's clutch. Sometimes you just need a normal summon that is a normal monster.
Agreed.
He's clearly on like every 10-year tech card that I have thought about. Heavenly Dragon Cycle, Mystery Shell, Waterfall of Dragon Souls. They're all pretty good.
They're all really strong. I mean, Waterfall applies so much to a worm-based strategy, obviously.
So search a worm, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's pretty good with the Sword Soul stuff as well. I mean, God, that deck just got such a boost out of Sword Soul. It's a shame it couldn't make it to finals, but
impressive plays.
Jamie just played that one really well.
Yeah, that turn one board was so oppressive, and we just needed to see.
Flu went XO and beat Mike last round. Let's go!
Wow.
XO Flu. I think Flu's favored in the penned matchup, unfortunately.
I do, and I mean, obviously, it's truly determinative to who wins the dice roll here.
Oh, is that saying beat Mike last round of Swiss? Is that what it's saying? Probably.
Oh yeah, potentially.
So not looking good. I mean, dice rolls are a thing.
Dice rolls are a thing because it is unfortunate at this moment in time. Fluanda don't have the most incredible in archetype go second. Obviously, that's supplemented by the essentially dig through time that they can run.
D-Shifter, Dark Ruler, Book of Moon, all pretty good. Yeah, round 4.
Yeah,
I'm picking up what you're putting
down.
We're
picking up what you're putting down. But that's super interesting. So that Fluanda is the only XO going forward. That's so interesting.
It's a good deck.
Oh, so that means we watched second and third in the standings. Because it means that obviously if Fluanda is XO and then Mike would have been fourth place.
Yep.
Yeah, don't know about Top Cut. Live reporting on the scene. We're looking forward to finding out. So I think, yeah, I would honestly believe that in this particular format, if we do see Fluanda go to the finals, it's very heavily favored for them. If Magic-y go forward, I think it's quite split.
It's like 2 rogue combo decks versing off against each other, which would be interesting.
Yeah. And like barely any interaction as well. Like obviously we found out that Jamie is on Ash Blossom, which, you know, can hit a critical Halka Fibrax if needed. But I don't think you run any hand traps in Magic-y. Like there's...
Yeah, you run very few hand traps in either of these decks.
Yeah, just because your own engine needs to be so... It pulls from so much throughout history. Or like throughout like what your support is. You really don't want to be clogging it with interaction.
Yeah, you just need like a lot of scales.
Or in the case of Magic-y, a lot of ritual access.
Magic-y's a weird one because theoretically they just need like the field spell and they can play. Like you actually don't need anything else. But you do have to play a lot of jank in the deck. I know Dino was more into like just playing the Gamma package to give you Driver as a normal monster to send from deck, which I get.
Great, don't draw Driver, have the best hand trap. Yep.
Well, even if you draw it, you can tuck it back, right?
Exactly. That's the power of the field spell.
And, you know, there was some discussion about, you know, putting Garnets back means Dragoon is pretty viable because if you draw the bad pieces, you can just tuck them back. And if you really have to, you're playing normal monster the deck. So, you know, Dark Magician, not the worst card to play. So yeah, the deck's very adaptable. You generally only need like 2 cards for full combo, but you know, a lot of cards can get you there as well. Prep, Advanced Ritual Art is kind of sick as well. Didn't see Diviner in Mike's list. Diviner's also a good card.
Yeah, Diviner's a good card in the deck. I can understand not wanting to play it. Obviously, first of all, it's quite a costly card still.
Yeah.
Just because Lightning Overdrive is thirsting for value.
But it's a tuner that searches a ritual, so...
But it's not a normal monster, which means that your rituals and infusions have to be... You're not using the like native advantage of having a normal monster on the board.
Sure. But I mean... Like,
it's very tough.
A tuner that gets you a ritual or a ritual spell seems pretty good. Because this deck is way more of a Hulk deck than Drytron has ever been.
Yeah, but it's also tough because obviously their ritual spell isn't a ritual spell because it's not, you can't search it off heralds or anything.
That's why you play Advanced Ritual Art, right?
Yeah, that's your ARA, absolutely.
I think Diviner is super playable. I don't know if it's in this list, but it certainly seems like a decent normal in a deck that gets 2 normals for free.
Yes, absolutely.
But I like holding the second normal for
the Maftiel.
The Maftiel, yeah.
All right, so we've got 3 minutes left. I'd assume they're probably going to time just because those are 2 generally quite grindy decks.
Definitely, Magic-Key's not grindy.
Magic-Key is definitely much a...
I actually think both those decks are pretty kill immediately. Fluanda maybe lacking a bit of OTK potential, but they kind of lock the game up with 7 cards in hand quite fast if they're winning. And Magic-Key, of course, just aim to stop the opponent from playing, period.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see what turns out successful.
All right, 2 minutes and 35 seconds left. Of course, Top Cut, they won't go to time in the same way.
No.
But for the sake of my blood temperature,
we see
baking alive in this room, I hope it's not too long.
Should we contact Joe? How's your Palmerston
let's check
North
in with
event?
Palmy. 24-person event in Palmerston North. Can you believe that? It was even going to be more, but the small amount of COVID news there turned a few people away. But Joe, our co-host, who can't be here because he's running his own event, has been fostering a really prominent and like dedicated Yu-Gi-Oh community in Palmerston North, and it's a testament that like a lot of people just don't know where to play Yu-Gi-Oh because once he started doing it, it just grew like immediately.
It's really impressive, and I think Greg's also done that here for the Dunedin scene. I think there was a scene. Speaking with Joe, obviously this is where he was when he was younger. Played in the Duelist Alliance era. Played some like weird deck. I can't remember. It'll come to me.
You have to listen to the podcast
to
find out what Joe played.
Yeah, in Dunedin.
Unfortunately.
So I think that we're going to be in for some interesting one. I'll see what Joe had. I actually even asked what won the Bay Dragon event as well.
That's true. Aaron Dennis, I assume he was on
Sword Soul?
Something Aaron-y. Yeah, like some kind of one-card engine, kind of consistent as hell mid-range deck.
Yeah.
Seems to be his kind of thing.
And then what was Dino playing as well?
I mean, he got Lava Golemed. So... V-Dub?
Striker?
There's no way Aaron was on Striker. Surely not. Aaron Dennis on Striker. Okay.
I mean, Sky Striker going good. They got a couple of tools, and Striker does just need to have the better. Okay, top 4 was Striker, Sword Soul, PK, Despia. Okay, diverse.
That's cool. Despia. Oh, was Dino on Despia?
Dino was on the Despia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Man really didn't fear the Fluandas today.
No, but the Lava Golems showed up, so I don't blame.
Yeah, nice masquerades.
Yeah, sick.
I guess.
Oh my god, I guess I have to pay 1,200 to activate cards. Oh, I guess I'll just tribute them. Yeah.
That card is a really annoying card to play around, though. You get 6 cards before you die.
You get less than that if there's 3.
Yeah, if there's 3, you only get 4 cards. Right? 1,800,
32, 64.
54.
No, it's
72. Yeah, you get 4 cards.
Yeah, 4 cards.
Silly.
Okay.
Here they come.
I believe that's Mike. Oh no, this is Greg. Right, coming in for the finals play.
Greg, in finals, what are you playing?
Yeah.
You've done well running an event and topping. It's
amazing.
I have really rigged this well.
All right, who's in finals?
So, Fluanderies, however you say
Let's
that,
go.
is one. Unfortunately, they don't feel comfortable playing on stream. So,
that is absolutely fine.
This will be the end of the stream. But thank you so much to you guys. You guys have done an amazing job.
Thanks.
Amazing. Well, we've had a blast as always. Thank you so much for organizing this. It was always so easy to hop on here.
And I guess to find out who won, you can tune into the podcast where we'll be discussing events this week. Actually.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be sure to let you guys know
the diversity of this format.
Yeah. No. Awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone that's been watching as well. It's been a pretty good event. So. Yeah, thanks for bearing
and
with
thank you so much to Dice Jar for hosting such an amazing event, and be sure to head to their store whenever you're in Dunedin to get all your TCG needs.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And we've
Thank
been
you
the Face
very
Downs.
much.
Again, you can find us the Face Downs on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell, and the Face Downs on any prominent streaming site, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or
Anchor,
Walu. I don't know. They're probably
something
got some
funky.
Name.
Yeah, but I hope everyone has enjoyed listening and watching, and we've had a blast. So thank you very much.